God, is today April Fool's Day? We lost two nuclear-powered aircraft carriers in the Ryukyu Sea? Is God playing a joke on me? Wardfa, what the hell is going on in the Black Palace? I have such a big aircraft carrier parked there, and suddenly you say we lost two of them? Are the trash in the Black Palace and the Pentagon even capable of fighting? A bunch of maggots wasting the taxpayers' money. You should go to hell to atone for your sins. I said long ago not to go to war with the JECA group, and now we've lost, right? Getting ourselves entangled in a war over Japan is such a foolish act of losing both the lady and the soldiers. A battleship emerged out of nowhere, destroying the Roosevelt carrier and the Carl Vinson carrier, heavily damaging the Washington carrier, and sinking dozens of warships and 200 fighter jets. Since when can this old relic like a battleship wreak such havoc? Haha, the JECA group has brought new tricks with the battleship. I told you battleships are the true romance for men. My battleship and big gun party are ecstatic. Baka, impossible, absolutely impossible. How could the beautiful country lose? The Queen Elizabeth has sunk. Damn beautiful country's authorities. This is all your good work. As the news of the Ryukyu Sea spread globally like wildfire, the whole world was in an uproar. Especially the beautiful country which was utterly exploded because of this news. Among them, the most furious outcry on major social media came from the beautiful country's own citizens. They felt as if they woke up to find the sky falling, as their invincible carrier battle group was dealt a devastating defeat by the JECA group, nearly wiped out entirely. This broke many beautiful country citizens. Feeling their faith shattered, they cursed the incompetent beautiful country authorities. Even though many of them were living unhappily, having to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet. But even the homeless in the beautiful country would proudly puff out their chest talking about the nuclear-powered carrier battle groups. This is the pride that truly belongs to the beautiful country, where every citizen feels they can naturally disdain other countries as blue star dominators. But now, their invincible nuclear-powered aircraft carriers were defeated by the enemy. This was like a huge slap in the face for beautiful country citizens, making them unbearably angry as their dreams of world dominance were shattered. The fastest reaction was from the stock market. As soon as the beautiful country stock market opened that day, it plummeted with all stocks crashing down, especially the military-industrial stocks which were halved. The financial hegemony of the beautiful country relies on military hegemony as its pillar, and now with the military hegemony shaken by the JECA group, the confidence of stockholders and major fund institutions was undoubtedly greatly affected. Foreign capital began to flee instinctively to avoid harm, compounded with negative news and a collapse of confidence. And immediately a massive stock market crash began to sweep across the beautiful country. The entire beautiful country stock market was wailing everywhere, causing many stockholders to lose everything, unable to cope with this psychological disparity, walking zombie-like onto the rooftops. On that day, the beautiful country saw many airborne individuals. Outside of the stock market, large-scale protests also swept through major cities in the beautiful country, criticizing the beautiful country authorities for recklessly declaring war on the JECA group, misdirecting, and causing lost soldiers and ships. And at this juncture, it was natural for the black people to seize the opportunity for $0 shopping, causing chaos to spread throughout major cities. Internationally, many allies and followers of the beautiful country were also stunned by the Ryukyu Sea battle, leaving the Western society speechless. In the Great British Empire, enraged demonstrators almost overturned Buckingham Palace. The Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier was one of the only 2 aircraft carriers owned by the Great British Empire, and considering the current economic situation of the Great British Empire, it's akin to belt-tightening, scraping by to build them, and following the beautiful country, only to be told their precious aircraft sunk in the Pacific Ocean. Who could accept this? This was especially true for citizens of the Great British Empire, whose ancestors once thrived, and as islanders, these citizens held the Navy in high esteem, having a faith and admiration that differed from other Army and Air Force. But now, the face of the Royal Navy, the sinking of the Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier, was like trampling the remaining pride of the once world-dominating empire on the ground, igniting waves of shame and rage, many Britons targeting their anger at the authorities to vent emotions. the great British Empire government could only promote the heroic and fearless deeds of Ingram sinking with the ship to try and mitigate the negative publicity. Meanwhile, they shifted the blame east, accusing the Beautiful Country government, outright stating it was the Beautiful Country's fault, leading to the sinking of the Queen Elizabeth, bearing undeniable responsibility. While biting back at the Beautiful Country, the Great British Empire surprisingly actively reached out to the Jekka Group, which sank their Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier. The BBC News media representing the voice of the Great British Empire published multiple ambiguous articles. The meaning between the lines was clear: the Ryukyus battle was a misunderstanding. My Great British Empire absolutely had no intentions of warring with the Jekka Group. It was all the Beautiful Country's fault. To demonstrate sincerity, the Great British Empire publicly announced recognition of the Dragon Coin status, allowing Dragon Coin to be directly used for foreign trade transactions with the Great British Empire, enhancing economic cooperation between the two countries. Prior to this, although the Great British Empire had many Dragon Coins circulating privately in the black market, officially it never acknowledged Dragon Coin, because at that time the Great British Empire was aligned closely with the Beautiful Country. As for why there's suddenly a change of heart now, it's naturally because the Beautiful Country is now looking like it's struggling to keep afloat. In order not to offend the Jekka Group, they had to make efforts to please Jekka Group. A considerable number of countries have followed the Great British Empire in doing this. In Western society, many countries here are traditional allies of the Beautiful Country. The Beautiful Country, with 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carrier battle groups, roamed the oceans, its military bases spread globally. When its national power was at its peak, these allies and subordinates naturally complied and looked to the Beautiful Country for guidance. But now that the Beautiful Country's invincible nuclear-powered carrier has been sunk, the illusion of these countries regarding the nuclear-powered carrier shattered. They no longer believe its military strength is unmatched. Thus these allies and subordinates naturally develop second thoughts. These countries of Western society, more or less, have introduced a series of favorable measures towards the Jekka Group. Diplomatic relations that were absent in the past are now actively established, with people dispatched to interact with the Jekka Group and deepen cooperation in various fields. However, these countries still dare not go too far. A skinny camel is still bigger than a horse, not to mention the Beautiful Country isn't dead yet. They can flirt with the Jekka Group, the emerging maritime hegemon, but dare not truly offend the Beautiful Country. Otherwise, if the Beautiful Country cannot deal with the Jekka Group, they can still bully these countries effortlessly. Western society's countries can appease the Jekka Group, as they are far away. No matter how greedy the Jekka Group is, it cannot have territorial demands on them. But there is one country that cannot act this way: Japan. Because Japan is currently suffering from an invasion by the Jekka Group, its territory is engulfed in war, with large areas falling into the hands of the Jekka Group. When the news of the Ryukyus conflict reached Japan, the entire Japanese leadership was speechless and horrified. The Beautiful Country is Japan's only reliance against the Jekka Group. Now, with their protector struggling, how can they, the metaphorical children, withstand the wolf-like Jekka Group? Not to mention the Jekka Group, even the Imperial Army supported by Jekka Group is difficult to handle. The battlefield reflected this as the Japan Self-Defense Forces morale plummeted. The Beautiful Country provided Japan the confidence to resist the Jekka Group. However, after the Beautiful Country's navy failed, the Japan Self-Defense Force was filled with a foreboding sense of impending doom. In contrast, the Imperial Army that sided with the Jekka Group wagged their tails excitedly, their morale soaring. They fought proactively in the war, as they believed themselves to inevitably be the victors. The Beautiful Country's troops stationed in Japan initially planned to coordinate with the Navy to launch an offensive, deplete Jekka Group's ammunition, and collapse Jekka Group's logistics. Yet, as their sea power diminished, their plans crumbled. Because of this, tens of thousands of Beautiful Country soldiers had to face the Jekka Group in full victorious form, highly trained with ample supplies. Outside Japan's Chongya County, after the Jekka Group and the Beautiful Country went to war, the first ground collision unfolded. Although the Beautiful Country's Black Palace had made its choice, the Beautiful Country was unwilling to let go of its interests in Japan. They hoped to retain more Japanese territory to gain better negotiating terms. The beautiful country gathered over 50,000 soldiers in Japan, which was quite comparable to the number of soldiers from the JECA group. Beautiful country soldiers brought numerous self-defense team members. Meanwhile, JECA group also brought a large number of Imperial Army soldiers. Both sides, with their respective forces, engaged in confrontation outside Changya County. The beautiful country's 1st Cavalry Division, established in 1921, stationed here. It had participated in World War II, the Annan War, the Gulf War, and the Iraq War with remarkable achievements. It always played the role of pioneer in warfare, earning the titles of Pioneer Division and Always Victorious Division as the beautiful country Army's elite force. This fully staffed heavy main division of 16,000 personnel is equipped with 348 M1A2 main battle tanks, over 700 armored vehicles, and hundreds of helicopters. Together with 30,000 Japan Self-Defense Force personnel and lots of advanced equipment, they are well deserving of their reputation. But today, the opponent they faced was the JECA Group, specifically the JECA Group's land warfare aces, the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade, and the Steel Camp, who launched a joint attack. When the battle commenced, 24 Luanyang airspace strategic bombers from JECA Group first attacked the beautiful country. The beautiful country's aircraft also promptly rose to the challenge, yet faced with Luanyang airspace strategic bombers flying at an altitude of 50,000 meters equipped with biological radar, multiple air defense missiles, and onboard close-in weapon systems, even the beautiful country's so-called best air force struggled to compete. Multiple aircraft were shot down, handing battlefield air control to JECA Group. Then, in a unique twist, the beautiful country Army, which usually favored aerial bombardment to begin battles, became the target of airstrikes this time. Their opponent was none other than the 100-meter-long Luanyang airspace strategic bombers capable of carrying hundreds of tons of bombs. As heavy air bombs, guided bombs, air-to-ground missiles, and cluster bombs landed one after another, the beautiful country's 1st Cavalry Division's nightmare began. Boom! 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 M2A1 main battle tanks were blown apart, and those Apache armed helicopters were cleaned up one by the Luanyang airspace strategic bombers, directly exploding them with missiles. These armed helicopters could only take hits in one-sided combat, staring blankly at the Luanyang airspace strategic bombers high in the sky, unable to strike back. During the Air Force bombing, the JECA Group's 1st Mecha Combat Brigade also joined the battlefield. One main battle tank after another was blasted into pieces by 203mm shells. Machine guns mixed with purple tracers swept across the field, tearing bodies apart. The Genetic Warriors, along with the Spider main battle mecha, weaved through the battlefield, wielding various heavy weapons to clear out the light infantry of the 1st Cavalry Division. My foot! My foot is gone. God. Can someone help me find my foot? Damn it. Why are we risking our lives for those short Japanese? I've had enough. These devils are simply unbeatable. I surrender. I'm willing to surrender. The soldiers of the 1st Cavalry Division were beaten into crying and wailing, with no ground force of any country daring to challenge the Mecha Combat Brigade on the plains. Not even the beautiful country's Army ace, the 1st Cavalry Division. The battle was completely one-sided, with JECA Group's Luanyang airspace strategic bombers seizing air superiority, shooting down multiple beautiful country fighter jets, and bombing the artillery positions and assembly points of the 1st Cavalry Division on the ground into rubble. On the ground, the Mecha Combat Brigade charged around, and upon contact with the beautiful country's ace 1st Cavalry Division, the Spider main battle mecha taught the beautiful country's army what it truly means to be the king of land battles, achieving victory effortlessly in coordination with the elusive, individually powerful Genetic Warriors, securing a beautiful initial victory. Seeing the collapse of the beautiful country's soldiers, the Japanese self-defense force watching was terrified and similarly collapsed, with fleeing soldiers spreading far and wide. Meanwhile, the Imperial Army following JECA Group was exhilarated. So-called beautiful country Army ace, they're no different at all. Hao Guang, the commander of the 1st Mecha Combat Brigade, with a calm tone, shook his head with some regret as he looked at the one-sided battle in front, thinking there might be more of a challenge, but even beautiful country's army couldn't hold up. In front of JECA Group's heavenly soldiers, how could the fake army of a small beautiful country be an opponent? Beside him, Araki Kenichi, the commander of the Imperial Army, flattering with smiling faces, volunteered, "Your Excellency, please leave the upcoming battles to us, the Imperial Army. Those fleeing soldiers are insignificant, and we can deal with them. Go ahead." Hao Guang waved his hand, handing over some of Jekka Group's dirty and tiring work to the Imperial Army. "Yes." Araki Kenichi turned around, ran to the tens of thousands of the Imperial Army troops, and shouted energetically, "Brothers, the time has come for us to be tested by the Supreme Leader and the people. Follow me into Nagoya, capture the Emperor alive for the great Supreme Leader, and apprehend the heinous war criminal Shiyuan Temple Eating. For the Supreme Leader, fight on." Hao Guang. The corners of Hao Guang's mouth twitched slightly, speechless. Words like this coming from Araki Kenichi, a Japanese, had an inexplicable sense of absurdity. But it must be said that Araki Kenichi is truly interesting. At least, he is an excellent loyal dog, even surpassing those Southeast Asian countries. No wonder the beautiful country loves Japan, such a handy tool you only know if you use it. Araki Kenichi's words ignited the morale of those Imperial Army soldiers. Everyone's faces were fervent, their morale not losing to Jekka Group, shouting for the Supreme Leader, then aggressively charged at those fleeing soldiers. Even if the opponents were beautiful country soldiers, these Imperial Army troops struck without hesitation, mercilessly. "Is your beautiful country more powerful than my master?" Under such a psychological effect, the Imperial Army soldiers fought fearlessly, driven by resentment against the beautiful country soldiers' past tyranny on Japanese soil. They even deliberately executed captured enemies. One can only say, the beautiful country did a lot of nonsense and evil things in Japan in the past. Now, given the chance to act without scruples, these Imperial Army soldiers, like their Showa-era predecessors, were bloodthirsty against the fleeing beautiful country soldiers. If it weren't for Jekka Group intervening, the beautiful country's 1st Cavalry Division might have been erased from existence. After the 1st Cavalry Division's defeat, Jekka Group advanced triumphantly, leading the Imperial Army, a rabid dog, in capturing and plundering, while the beautiful country army and Japanese self-defense force could only continually retreat. When Jekka Group's Far East Mixed Fleet reached the nearby waters of Japan, a large barrage of missiles bombarded the Japanese self-defense force and the beautiful country garrison, further accelerating the collapse of the beautiful country garrison and Japanese self-defense force. In just a few days, over half of Japan's territory had been occupied by Jekka Group. Nagoya, within the Prime Minister's residence, Prime Minister Shiyuan Temple Eating has fallen ill and cannot get back up. Due to the sinking of the beautiful country's carrier, his already frail body couldn't withstand the repeated blows and was overcome by illness. Currently, the one truly in charge is Sugiyama Hideaki, the defense minister managing Japan's affairs. "Prime Minister, are you feeling any better today?" In a special care room, Sugiyama Hideaki stood at the bedside, looking concernedly at the gaunt face of Shiyuan Temple Eating. "I'm feeling much better lately. Quickly, tell me how the battle is going. Has the Jekka Group launched a new round of attacks?" Shiyuan Temple Eating struggled to sit up, gasping for breath as he asked. "The doctors say you need to recuperate and can't take too much stress anymore." Sugiyama Hideaki hesitated, as the current situation was truly difficult to speak of. "Speak. I know my own body, and no one can kill me before we drive out the Jekka Group, that hungry tiger." Shiyuan Temple Eating glared at Sugiyama Hideaki, demanding the truth. Sugiyama Hideaki took a deep breath. He was under significant pressure himself, unable to find a way to salvage the situation, hoping Shiyuan Temple Eating could think of a way. "Forgive my incompetence. After the Ryukyu Islands, the Jekka Group intensified their offensive against us. Now, more than half of our nation's territory has fallen, with the enemy forces directly threatening Nagoya." Hearing Sugiyama Hideaki's words, Shiyuan Temple Eating's face turned even paler, unintentionally saying, "What about the beautiful country garrison? They wouldn't let us perish, would they?" Sugiyama Hideaki shook his head bitterly and said, "They have joined the battle, but they are no match for the Jekka Group. Even the 1st Cavalry Division was defeated by the Jekka Group. Most of the remaining beautiful country garrison has retreated, unwilling to confront the Jekka group and choosing to hide instead. How can this be? Hearing that the beautiful country garrison, in which they had high hopes, was also no match, Shiyun Temple Eating trembled all over, his face full of disbelief. This is the latest military intelligence. Sugiyama Hideaki handed over the latest battle summary. After reading it, Shiyun Temple Eating finally believed that Japan was on the brink of collapse. The military prowess of the Jekka group was unexpectedly formidable, outstripping the beautiful country by far. What does the beautiful country have to say? Shiyun Temple Eating's lips trembled. He realized that during his coma, the domestic situation had worsened to such an extent. The beautiful country wants us to hold on to the existing cities as much as possible, but easier said than done. After the Roosevelt Carrier Battle Group was wiped out, the beautiful country itself is in chaos, and it feels like they can no longer spare any attention for us. Sugiyama Hideaki laughed bitterly twice, revealing the current predicament of Japan. The beautiful country's retreat was the biggest dilemma for Japan. Alone, Japan could not possibly be a match for the Jekka group. Cough, cough, we can't let this continue. We must have the beautiful country help us. Shiyun Temple Eating was so anxious that he coughed repeatedly. Your Excellency, Prime Minister, your health. Sugiyama Hideaki hurriedly took out a tissue, which was stained with blood, causing him to involuntarily exclaim, "Go find the beautiful country. I want the beautiful country to communicate." Shiyun Temple Eating ignored his condition, staggering as he prepared to reach out to the beautiful country, hoping they would remember Japan's loyalty over the years and lend them a hand. At the same time, the beautiful country, which Shiyun Temple Eating longed for, began secretly engaging with the Jekka group. In the Jekka group headquarters building, the beautiful country CIA Director Judith personally came to visit. May I ask if Secretary Liu is available now? In the reception room, Judith inquired once again. He had been kept waiting here for several hours. An unspoken power play. In the past, who would dare treat him this way? After all, he was the head of Blue Star Dominator's largest foreign intelligence agency. But now, he happens to be the one seeking help. Moreover, with the so-called Blue Star Dominator having just suffered a crushing defeat, they could hardly hold their ground against the Jekka group. Facing Jekka group's antics, he could only endure it quietly. Come with me. A staff member received the notification, then led Judith to an office. There, he met the second-in-command of the Jekka group, Liu Yingying, who also served as the Secretary-General of the Southern Alliance. As for the Supreme Leader Su Jie of the Southern Alliance, he was not qualified for a direct audience. Mr. Judith, we meet again. Liu Yingying smiled, looking at Judith, the trusted aide of President Jie Siming. He had attended the military parade organized by the Jekka group when they occupied Chan country, and the two had seen each other. However, back then, the Jekka group was just a regional power. Compared to the beautiful country, they weren't insignificant, but not substantial enough to make the beautiful country take them as their greatest challenge to hegemony. But now, after time has passed, the Jekka group has transformed through its swallowing of the Southeast Asia and South Asia regions, becoming an enemy that even the beautiful country fears. Secretary Liu, I've long admired your name. It's an honor to meet you. Judith's Mandarin was quite proficient, with only a slight accent, making communication smooth. Seeing Liu Yingying's victorious expression, a myriad of emotions surged in his heart. He initially served as the CAI section chief in charge of Jekka Group affairs, dealing specifically with Jekka Group matters. One could say he watched Jekka Group grow step by step into the dominant force it is today. Director Judith, I suppose you aren't here just for tea, are you? We are still in a state of war. Aren't you afraid I'll keep him here? Liu Yingying tapped the table. After a long period of adapting to change, she showed no fear facing a significant figure like Judith. Not to mention following Su Jie on the path of cultivation, she was fully aware of the true heritage of Jekka Group and was completely fearless of the beautiful country, the Blue Star Dominator. I am here for this. Taking a deep breath, Judith discerned the provocation in Liu Yingying's words, but had to suppress her anger, saying, Our beautiful country is willing to cease hostilities with Jekka Group. Willing? Lu Yingying's smile faded slightly, contemptuously saying, "What tone are you using this word with me? Should Jekka Group thank your beautiful country for this? With your nuclear-powered carrier strike group, 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, how many are operational now? Our beautiful country is very sincere. Continued confrontation benefits neither side. If we both suffer losses, only other countries will benefit. You don't need to worry about that, Director Judith. At least our current forces are far from the point of mutual destruction. Rather, we are advancing victoriously. In our plans, our Yuan-Shou battlecruiser will continue to advance eastward, uprooting the island chain of beautiful countries' military bases like Guam and Pearl Harbor in the Pacific, allowing the homeland of beautiful country to experience the glory of mighty battleships. Lu Yingying's threatening words made Judith clench his fist discreetly, but he soon relaxed it. Seeing the tricks weren't working, Judith had to set aside the pride of the Blue Star Dominator, saying, "As long as Jekka Group is willing to cease hostilities, we will no longer interfere with Jekka Group's annexation of Australia and New Lan country. Lift all sanctions against Jekka Group, open the domestic market to Jekka Group, and persuade our allies to include Dragon Coin into the economic trade system of Western society. We offer a $600 billion loan without interest to Jekka Group, with a term of 50 years. These terms were reached after numerous discussions by the beautiful country, already catering to Jekka Group. The so-called interest-free loans could actually be considered war reparations, with the wording softened. Hearing these terms, Lu Yingying showed interest, but she felt the sincerity was still lacking. Australia and New Lan country were already ours. If Jekka Group acts, is your beautiful country still capable of providing them with military protection? We also require military bases related to the Ryukyu Islands, Chagos Islands, Guam, the Middle East, etc. As for lifting sanctions and opening markets, we have our own channels for selling products. The quality of our products is evident, and many are willing to pay for them. Maybe some of your family members, Director Judith, are loyal customers of our Jekka Group products. Regarding the interest-free loan, a mere $600 billion hardly matches the financial might expected from the beautiful country, the Blue Star Dominator. It should be at least tripled to match the beautiful country's status. Of course, considering the beautiful country's difficulties, we are willing to allow installment payments, but interest calculations must be included. With each point Lu Yingying raised, Judith's eyelids twitched. The woman appeared to be a cultured beauty, but her words were capitalist-like, collecting interest from the lender by the borrower, defying normal order. No way, your demands are too outrageous. So many military bases, are you aiming to be world police? Judith retorted. Jekka Group's Luanyang airspace strategic bomber was already formidable. Further deployment of numerous overseas military bases by them would be disastrous. Guam, for instance, is the beautiful country's largest naval and air base in the Western Pacific, signaling its importance. I'm not finished with my demands. Japan, we need Jekka Group's control over it. Lu Yingying rolled her eyes, revealing the condition Judith feared most. Judith's face changed suddenly, angrily saying, "Impossible. Japan is our beautiful country's closest ally. It cannot be a negotiating condition. Allies need to be protected by force. Your beautiful country has only 6 operational nuclear-powered carriers now. I've let the Yuan-Shou battlecruiser pay them a cordial visit." Lu Yingying sneered coldly. The beautiful country was simply reluctant to relinquish benefits. Judith remained silent for over a dozen seconds. If Jekka Group continued the conflict, the beautiful country had a slim chance to win, let alone managing the Yuan-Shou battlecruiser. The beautiful country could no longer afford to lose more nuclear-powered carrier strike groups, or they would fail to maintain their interests in the Pacific, Middle East, EU, and Latin America regions. At most, half of Japan could be ceded. The other conditions can be agreed upon. Ultimately, Judith compromised. Fully protecting Japan was impossible. What couldn't be gained on the battlefield would be unrealistic to retrieve at the negotiation table. Jekka Group wasn't an outdated feudal dynasty. Then we'll see what conditions your beautiful country is willing to offer. Lu Yingying's lips curved into a devilish smile, making Judith's scalp tingle. A few hours later, when Judith left the Jekka Group headquarters building, his expression was numb, like a living corpse. Heaven knows what kind of humiliating treaty he had just signed with Jekka Group. Although privately signed and not made public, the beautiful country's losses were substantial and real. Thankfully, it was a secret agreement. Otherwise, as a signer, he might be cursed as a traitor by beautiful country's citizens. Soon after, the beautiful country swiftly fulfilled its commitments from the secret treaty. On March 29th, the beautiful country announced the withdrawal of military bases in Nulan country and Australia, with all soldiers returning home immediately. Soon, over Nulan country and Australian airspace, Luanyang Airspace strategic bomber carrying genetic warriors descended to seize the strategic points of both countries. These countries were very perceptive, quickly surrendering to Jekka Group once they realized the situation was irreparable. The country's elite lamented and eagerly expressed their willingness to join the South Alliance and serve Jekka Group. Because of their early surrender, they retained their positions. Otherwise, if Jekka Group forcefully replaced them with puppet governments, that's what they feared most. On April 7th, the beautiful country announced plans to cut overseas military spending due to huge expenses, leasing Pacific's Guam base, Chagos Islands in the Indian Ocean, Jubail base in Saudi Arabia, Mombasa in Kenya, etc. to Jekka Group. In these bases, almost as soon as beautiful country soldiers left, Jekka Group soldiers set foot on them, completing a peaceful handover. On April 12th, Jekka Group announced support for the restoration of the Ryukyu Islands, with the newly formed Liuqiu country joining the South Alliance. On April 15th, the EU announced lifting all sanctions against Jekka Group, and vast amounts of funds from Western society quickly flowed towards Jekka Group. Various ACE products from Jekka Group, such as Tianyuan hair growth liquid, whitening liquid, slimming pills, etc., prominently appeared on store shelves, and blood gold industry procurement became overt. On April 20th, regardless of Japan's objection, the beautiful country publicly recognized the Yamato government, supported by Jekka Group, also known as the Imperial Army Organization, establishing diplomatic relations. On April 22nd, Jekka Group officially released a joint ceasefire declaration with the beautiful country, normalizing relations and ending the war status. This one-month period saw events that dazzled the entire world. But astute observers noted that this was the beautiful country's concession to Jekka Group, and the two sides must have reached a secret agreement privately. On May 5, 2033, a solemn surrender ceremony took place in Tokyo Bay, Japan. The ceremony was broadcast live to major global media, with countless media outlets gathering here, and at this moment, the eyes of billions worldwide were focused on this event. Attending the ceremony were Japan's current Prime Minister Shiyuin Temple Iting, Japan's Supreme Commander Sugiyama Hideaki, Imperial Army's Chief Commander Araki Kenichi, beautiful country President Jesmin, and other prominent figures, including representatives from global powers such as Hua Country, Mao Bear, Great British Empire, and France. At 11 o'clock in the morning, sunlight glittered on the sea's surface, with an immense battleship lying there. In the distance, there were also destroyers, escort ships, cruisers, and other vessels, appearing like mountains floating on the sea, making an impressive sight. That battleship, equipped with 9 600mm caliber giant cannons angled towards the sky dome, looked like an ancient castle, its bow resembling a sword, the deep blue hull shining coldly in the sunlight, massive and solid. On the deck, flags fluttered high. Soldiers in navy uniforms stood on both sides of the deck, arms folded behind their backs, each with a look of pride and arrogance written on their faces, viewing others with a sense of supremacy. This battleship was naturally the Yuan Shou, which had gained fame in the Ryukyu Sea battle, captivating the media's flashlights and causing a stir of exclamations. Seeing this battleship, the expressions of Shiyuin Temple Iting and others were unpleasant, because it was this warship that caused the downfall of the Roosevelt Carrier Battle Group. Without this battleship, they wouldn't be compelled to appear here. Is this that battleship called Yuan Shou? Jesmin looked at the battleship with an uncontrollable hint of envy in his eyes. Despite possessing the world's strongest carrier force, battleships were simply too impressive. Such giant ships and cannons seemed like masculine muscles, filled with male hormones, making it difficult for both men and women present to avert their gaze. If only the battleship was ours, Japan. Shiyun Temple Eating muttered internally, his gaze filled with unwillingness. The strongest battleship of World War II, Yamato, was constructed by Japan. However, it never got the chance for battleship duel on the ocean dominated by aircraft carriers, and its 460mm giant cannon never roared, being sunk by carrier aircraft in the sea. Nearly a century later, the Yuan-Shou battleship constructed by the JECA Group has already sunk two of Blue Star's most powerful nuclear-powered carriers and damaged one. As history repeats itself, the only constant is that Japan continues to play the victim role, facing the peak beautiful country during World War II, and now confronting the rising JECA Group, continuously suffering from the strong. The people on site were unaware of Shiyun Temple Eating's thoughts. They were just intently observing this magnificent battleship. As everyone boarded a small boat to go to the Yuan-Shou, they could more clearly feel the ship's immense size. Especially those 600mm caliber biological plasma cannons, with a barrel extending over 30 meters, could easily fit several strong men inside. The deep cannon mouth seemed ready to spray flames capable of destroying everything anytime, a shock far surpassing that of a carrier. At 11:30 a.m., on the Yuan-Shou battleship, the military song Navy Supreme Leader March played. As whistles blared across the vessel, and the flag belonging to the Supreme Leader slowly rose on the mast. When Shiyun Temple Eating stepped onto the deck, none of the Navy soldiers saluted, only glaring at him with sideways glances, an invisible pressure engulfing the scene. Some of those belonging to the Marine Corps on the Yuan-Shou all served as genetic warriors, whose murderous atmosphere caused many high-ranking individuals in Japan to tremble, their hearts filled with terror. Shiyun Temple Eating's face turned slightly pale, uncertain whether it was due to illness or fright. Through communication with Beautiful Country completely ignored Japan's interests, bluntly demanding Japan to accept the JECA Group's terms and surrender to it. At that moment, Shiyun Temple Eating realized that Japan had been sold by Beautiful Country, becoming one of the conditions for the reconciliation between Beautiful Country and JECA Group. Of course, Shiyun Temple Eating's heart was stifled with anger, but facing these two powerful forces on Blue Star, Japan had no choice but to comply. If not for Beautiful Country's unwillingness for the JECA Group to monopolize benefits, all of Japan would now have become a vassal of the JECA Group. As the music played loudly, the South Alliance delegation appeared on the deck of the Yuan-Shou. The deep green military uniform signified the Annan representative, pure white shirts, shorts, and long socks denoted Australia representatives. Deep brown-green with deep blue bordered by red stripes represented Siam, and pale yellow military uniforms designated Luzon. These colorful military uniforms, along with dazzling medals and sashes, overwhelmed the eyes entirely. The only exception was the soldiers on the Yuan-Shou, all directly under the JECA Group, from generals to ordinary sailors. Although the military outfits were new, they all wore utility shirts as military attire, not tying ties nor wearing medals, completely different from the regular or ceremonial uniforms for formal occasions. Through this action, JECA Group expressed its contempt for Japan. At the core of the South Alliance delegation, a gentle-faced man led the crowd, with everyone half a step behind him. Loyalty! The JECA Group naval soldiers on site saluted in unison, their eyes admiringly and fervently fixed on the man. Su Jie waved his hand, then walked to the long table set up on the deck, where representatives from both sides took their seats. On one side was the Southern Alliance delegation led by Su Jie, and on the other, representatives of the Western countries from the Beautiful Country. Su Jie calmly looked over, and when he saw Shiyun Temple Eating, his expression showed little change. This disregard was more unbearable than verbal humiliation. "Hello, President Su." Jesmin extended his hand, looking at this greatest enemy of the Beautiful Country, the culprit responsible for the sinking of two nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. Despite wanting to give the other a round of American-style retaliation, he couldn't afford to behave without poise under the countless media live cameras. "Mr. President, welcome to our JECA Group as a guest." Su Jie shook hands with Jesmin. The Yuan-Shou had already represented who the victor was on both sides. Even the leader of the beautiful country, the Blue Star Dominator, had to personally travel thousands of miles to board the Yuanshou and deliver the official ceasefire agreement to the Jeka group. Jesmin's lips twitched slightly, his face showing some displeasure. Not wanting to continue embarrassing himself in front of the cameras, he wanted to end things quickly. Let's proceed. I'm a bit pressed for time. Su Jie smiled slightly, and facing the live media cameras on site, he said calmly, "Today, representatives from our warring countries have gathered here to sign a solemn document, thereby restoring peace. The disputes arising from different ideologies have now been resolved on the battlefield. As a member who loves peace, our Jeka group, representing the Southern Alliance, will sign a peace agreement here with representatives from various countries. After this solemn ceremony, we will bid farewell to the old world filled with bloody massacres and welcome a world dedicated to the pursuit of freedom, tolerance, and justice. This is my most passionate hope, and it is also the hope of all humanity." After saying this, Su Jie took a document from Lu Yingying next to him and directly tossed it in front of Xiun Temple Yiting, announcing, "I now order Sugiyama Hideaki, representative of the Sakura government, and Araki Kenichi, commander-in-chief, to sign and seal the surrender document." The cover of the surrender document thrown by Su Jie was the cheapest black canvas, as it was certain that Japan would not properly preserve it, so there was no need to provide an ornate decoration, lest it be wasted. As for the text retained by the Jeka group, held by Lu Yingying, it had a genuine leather cover, luxurious and elegant. Xiun Temple Yiting stepped forward to carefully examine the crude surrender document. Although he had psychologically prepared himself beforehand, when he saw the specific clauses on it, his forehead couldn't help but throb with veins bulging. Before coming here, he did not know the specific content of this surrender treaty, which had been secretly negotiated between the Jeka group and the beautiful country, only notifying the other party to sign. Therefore, this was the first time Xiun Temple Yiting had seen the treaty. According to its provisions, Japan would lose 43% of its territory, 39% of its population, 25% of its metal mineral resources, and half of its steel industry. Japan will use Nagoya as the dividing line, ceding west of Nagoya to the newly established Yamato government, whose president is Araki Kenichi, commander-in-chief of the Imperial Army. East of Nagoya will continue to be retained by Japan. Nagoya will be jointly managed by the Jeka group and the beautiful country, with tall walls erected to divide the city in two. This was just the territorial and resource section. Regarding the defeat compensation, the currency converted to gold required Japan to pay a total of 75,000 tons, placing a heavy yoke on its economy. There were over 100 specific provisions, each one cutting into the sakura fruit, causing veins to throb on Xiun Temple Yiting's forehead. As a result, Xiun Temple Yiting, who was originally prepared to take out a pen, was flustered, and his cane slipped from his arm to the ground. This treaty. Xiun Temple Yiting's lips trembled, and he looked towards the beautiful country for help. The treaty was too harsh. If signed, Japan would become like South Korea and North Korea, unable to reunify and even manipulated into fighting each other. The way the Jeka group supported the Imperial Army showed this was bound to happen. We, the beautiful country, have no objections to this treaty. Jesmin didn't even look at Xiun Temple Yiting, who was only considered a pawn they kept. At a critical moment, the pawn should be sacrificed. With the aggressive Jeka group, if they didn't use this good pawn to satisfy Jeka group's greedy appetite, how could Jeka group easily relent? I'm also pressed for time. If you don't want to sign, it doesn't matter to me. Su Jie's gaze did not turn to Xiun Temple Yiting but looked toward the land of Tokyo Bay. On the Yuanshou battlecruiser, the imposing 600mm biological plasma cannon's enormous turret rotated, with the muzzle aiming at Japan's territory. As long as Su Jie gave the order, this battlecruiser and the Far East Mixed Fleet off the coast could launch shells and missiles to destroy Japan's cities and industrial systems, bombing Japan back to the Stone Age. What are you waiting for? Quickly sign. Seeing this posture, Jesmin glared menacingly at Xiun Temple Yiting, his eyes filled with threat. Su Jie's aggressive approach had already been felt. Since the beautiful country was already seeking peace, Continuing to fight against the JECA group would be impossible as they no longer had many aircraft carriers left to lose. Shiyuan Temple Eating felt desolate. Never before did he deeply understand the phrase, "Man is a knife and I am meat." Right now, Japan was like pork being divided on a chopping board, with the JECA group and the beautiful country acting as butcher and customer discussing their transaction, uninterested in the pig's thoughts. "I'll sign." In the end, Shiyuan Temple Eating's trembling hand signed the surrender document, choosing to bow to reality and power. Following him was Sugiyama Hideaki's signature, with both figures managing Japan's military and political power signing, representing Japan's division into two. In the future, this island country will have the western part as the JECA group-supported Yamato government, while the east will be the beautiful country-supported Japan. The nation will be split into two countries, making reunification difficult. Seeing this, Su Jie smiled and said, "This is a big step towards world peace. I sincerely hope that there will be no more wars and disasters in the future world, and humanity can advance hand in hand." Jesmond secretly rolled his eyes but had to maintain a stiff smile for his final remarks. "Let's jointly wish that the world restores peace from henceforth, and may God bless peace to remain forever. Additionally, we, the beautiful country, announce that we vote in favor of JECA Group's proposal to become the 6th permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. This was also part of the peace agreement. In fact, even without this proposal, the power of the JECA Group wouldn't affect much, as the JECA Group defeated even the beautiful country's aircraft carrier strike group, making them the legitimate 6th powerhouse of Blue Star. Great Britain votes in favor. France votes in favor. Hua country votes in favor. Russia votes in favor. Several voices simultaneously sounded on site. Following the beautiful country's lead, Great Britain and France would not oppose, and with long-time friendly relations with JECA Group, neither Russia nor Hua country would oppose. With the witnessing of these media, the JECA Group officially became the 6th powerhouse of Blue Star. On the other side, Shiyuan Temple Eating was unsure of how he stepped down from the Yuan show. When he returned to land, he was met by countless angry Japanese citizens. "Traitor! You damned traitor! You betrayed our nation. Idiot, you don't deserve to be our prime minister. How is this agreement different from our nation's downfall? Shiyuan Temple Eating, you should commit seppuku and apologize. You're a sinner to all Japanese people, worse than Araki Kenichi." Countless Japanese people shouted and cursed, with rotten vegetables and stinky eggs being thrown at him. Under the curses of 1,000 people, Shiyuan Temple Eating's face alternated between blue and white. The misunderstanding and accusations of his people made him suffer inwardly to the point where his already failing health finally gave in, and he clutched his heart and fell down. By the time the doctors arrived, the Japanese Prime Minister had long stopped breathing. With the JECA Group becoming the 6th permanent member on Blue Star, the global power dynamics have undergone significant changes. Due to the recent decline of Russia, there is now talk of the upper 3 permanents and the lower 3 permanents. The upper 3 are the beautiful country, Hua country, and the rising JECA Group, while the lower 3 are the gradually declining Russia, the Great British Empire, and France. These 6 entities form the dominant powers on Blue Star. Among them, the JECA Group is an emerging force holding strong biological gene technology and mecha technology, genetic warriors, biological armor, Spider main battle mecha, Luanyang airspace strategic bomber, Devourer-class deep-diving cruiser, and Destroyer-class battleship. This domineering and advanced strength in weaponry has left countries around the world feeling the pressure. Thus, even though the warfare has paused, the international environment remains turbulent beneath the surface. All countries worldwide have unanimously increased military spending, learning from the JECA Group's technologies like genes and mechas. Also, following the end of the war, the issue of handling Penglai Ferry Island has become the most pressing concern for all countries. The previous war, to put it bluntly, was caused by the emergence of Penglai Ferry Island. Everyone participated in it to compete for control of this ultra-ancient civilization island. Undoubtedly, the JECA Group became the biggest winner. Now, armed with the Luanyang airspace strategic bombers deployed in the Great Japan and the Yuan Shou battlecruiser on the sea, Even the beautiful country finds it hard to compete with the Jekka Group over Penglai Ferry Island, as their naval presence in the Pacific is almost non-existent. But just when countries around the world thought the Jekka Group would monopolize Penglai Ferry Island, the Jekka Group unexpectedly did not take the initiative to develop it further. Instead, they issued a public announcement. Considering Penglai Ferry Island's unknowns and risks, current scientific and technical methods are not mature enough. After careful consideration, we have decided to temporarily halt development to protect its resources. But the Jekka Group will not monopolize the benefits of Penglai Ferry Island. This is a treasure for all humanity. In the coming days, the Jekka Group will consider inviting renowned scientists from various countries to form the Penglai Project Department to conduct preliminary scientific research and filming, and open it for tourism, allowing everyone to witness the charm of this immortal island. The Jekka Group's announcement surprised countries worldwide. If they had this initiative, they would have tightly held Penglai Ferry Island, guarding against any external view. But admittedly, this win-win collaborative approach was met with enthusiasm from all countries. Everyone eagerly contributed money and effort, striving to join the Penglai Project Department formed by the Jekka Group to participate in the research and development of Penglai Ferry Island, making even more compromises with the Jekka Group in the process. The world, along with the Jekka Group's cooperative win-win model, began filming documentary after documentary on Penglai Ferry Island and opening it to tourism, allowing more people to witness the wonders of this immortal island. Invisibly, the faith of Blue Star people gathered onto Penglai Ferry Island through this promotion, creating a massive force of faith. The countries of Blue Star did not realize that the Jekka Group's gracious opening of Penglai Ferry Island was a deliberate ploy aimed at cultivating more believers, providing faith power, and creating an unprecedented god on Blue Star. On the Yin Yang Sea suppressing palace, Su Jie sat cross-legged with his eyes closed in meditation, five-colored purple aura looming above his head, and the enormous faith power, transformed by the Yin Yang Sea suppressing palace, became an invisible river of faith, absorbed into Su Jie's body. Rumble. It was as if the heavenly river had collapsed, and muffled thunder boomed through the void. The Tao River was opened, and boundless power was unleashed, forming a chaos Dharma form with wings on its back and a single eye within. Within the Dharma form, 72 radiant golden cores were faintly visible, each like a small sun. In Tianyuan world, a newly arisen Yang God cultivator typically had only 10 golden cores, demonstrating how far Su Jie had progressed on the path of the Yang God. When Su Jie opened his eyes, the single eye of the Chaos Dharma form opened simultaneously. It was like divine light from the 9 heavens and 10 earths, illuminating all things, with everything on Penglai Ferry Island revealed in transparency. Its internal mechanisms were perceived by Su Jie as clearly as lines on his palm. This was a higher-level dimension than divine sense, able to see for miles away in full detail, presented within Su Jie's mind. Taoist Platform Realm, 7th Layer. Su Jie murmured softly to himself, his Yang God repeatedly strengthened by the absorbed faith power. And the soul and physical body were interconnected. The growth of the Yang God would nourish the physical body in return. Especially a few days ago, when Su Jie's cultivation of the Blood Sea devouring sky demon skill reached the 10th level, a vast torrent of holy blood surged within. This was a level unimaginable to cultivators from the Tianyuan world who practiced this demon technique. It was only due to the booming development of the Blue Star blood gold industry, where worldwide excess money prompted widespread blood donations, that this transformation from quantity to quality occurred, allowing Su Jie to reach such a realm. The 10th level of the Blood Sea devouring sky demon skill, combined with Su Jie's progress in the Yang God, enabled him to reach the pinnacle of the Taoist platform realm in such a short time. The next step was to take the most crucial step and achieve the Purple Mansion realm. Cultivators of this realm stood at the pinnacle of the Delhi dynasty and were revered as Purple Mansion great powers. If the Yunling realm trained meridians and acupoints, the Secret Treasure realm trained the internal organs, the Taoist platform realm trained the 7 orifices, then the Purple Mansion realm trained the brain. The so-called Purple Mansion was the upper elixir field, located 3 inches inward between the 2 eyebrows, where the upper elixir field resides. The 7 orifices link to the upper dantian, which is also a prerequisite for the Purple Mansion realm. Breaking through from the Taoist platform realm to the Purple Mansion realm, as it involves the most nerve-rich and fragile human brain, requires stimulating the acupoints in the brain region and the divine soul, which carries great risk. Without caution, it is easy for blood to flow from the 7 orifices or for one to go astray, becoming confused and insane. However, once the Purple Mansion realm is achieved, the divine soul can reach its limit, allowing one to observe the Tao River and refine the Yang God Dharma image. But someone like Su Jie, who already managed to create the Yang God Dharma image in the Taoist platform realm, is a rare genius in the Tianyuan world, unseen in a century beyond common logic. Thus, for Su Jie, the biggest challenge in advancing to the Purple Mansion realm does not exist. He has already achieved the Yang God Dharma image. As for any potential risks from stimulating the brain acupoints, Su Jie, who is at the 10th level of the Blood Sea Devouring Sky Demon skill, could survive even if you blew his head off, let alone the minor life-threatening damage to the brain acupoints, which is insignificant to him. 100 days to Purple Mansion. Su Jie had a premonition. Typically, a strong practitioner on the 7th realm of the Taoist platform would take decades of painstaking effort to hope to succeed in breaking through to the Purple Mansion realm. But Su Jie has no need for such trouble. For him, 100 days is the deadline he set for himself to advance to the Purple Mansion realm, allowing him to most simply and directly stimulate the brain region, leading straight to the path of Purple Mansion great power. Just as Su Jie had just successfully advanced, he heard laughter and chatter coming from beside him. 3rd level, Su Jie. I've advanced to the 3rd level of the Yunling realm. At this moment, a graceful figure ran out from the woods, approaching Su Jie with a face full of joy. It was Lu Yingying, who was accompanying Su Jie in his cultivation here. Not bad, your progress is very fast. Su Jie patted Lu Yingying's head. With unlimited resource supply, such advancement speed is quite normal. When he first entered the Ghost Ridge Palace, he didn't have the same treatment as Lu Yingying. Buzz! The 1,000-hand centipede also crawled out from Lu Yingying's sleeve, straightening its upper body, mimicking Su Jie's gesture as it patted Lu Yingying on the shoulder, showcasing a demeanor of a predecessor admiring a genius disciple. These days, Lu Yingying has formed a good relationship with the 1,000-hand centipede. On Penglai Fairy Island, it was the 1,000-hand centipede guiding Lu Yingying, becoming her mentor and friend. Hee hee. Lu Yingying pursed her lips, feeling quite happy from the praise. Although she held a high position outside, at that time her authority came from Su Jie and the Jekka group. Cultivation, as such a power that results from personal growth, is a source of strength that will not collapse with the disappearance of an organization or force. Moreover, the transformation and sublimation of the body through cultivation had made her completely enamored with it. Su Jie. What level is my cultivation talent compared to in the Tianyuan world? Lu Yingying blinked her eyes, and as she spoke, she unleashed a palm strike towards the open ground. The ground seemed as if it had been hit by a defensive grenade, with burnt soil overturned, showcasing considerable destructive power. To possess this strength in such a short time, your talent can be considered respectable. Ah, just respectable? Lu Yingying felt somewhat dejected. The sudden surge in strength had made her feel quite pleased with herself, yet being told this by Su Jie inevitably dealt her a bit of a blow. In the Tianyuan world, mentioning my name would be more useful than your current strength. Of course, it would be best not to mention it in front of the righteous sect. Su Jie shrugged, further sparking Lu Yingying's curiosity. She rarely heard Su Jie talk about things on that side of the Tianyuan world, and was itching with curiosity about that world of cultivation. Today, I'm taking you over to see the real world of cultivation. Just as Su Jie spoke, he suddenly sensed something and looked towards the south. The next moment, a red wedding dress materialized from the void in front of Su Jie. A woman in a phoenix crown and brocade robe, with snow-white skin and unparalleled beauty, stepped out of the void. Upon her appearance, a strange coldness swept through the area, permeated with the aura of decay. Husband, is this your little wife? Han Ruyan, with an expressionless yet exquisitely beautiful face, looked at Lu Yingying with a pair of serene, cold eyes. Lu Yingying's heart tightened. At the moment she saw Han Ruyan, she felt her blood nearly freeze. Her spiritual power stopped circulating, and her brain instinctively screamed in fear, warning her body to stay away from this woman. Wife, calm down. Su Jie felt helpless, standing between Han Ruyan and Lu Yingying. Although he had long anticipated this scene, its actual arrival gave Su Jie, a purple mansion realm preparatory, quite a headache. Han Ruyan glanced at Su Jie and then at Lu Yingying, her tone somber. Protecting her like this, so she is more important to you than I am? You're the ghost bride. Lu Yingying realized at this moment, carefully examining Han Ruyan's face, and immediately recognized Han Ruyan's identity. The Jekka Group's Nightmare Park has opened all over Southeast Asia, and with the ghostly themes from Nightmare Park, their horror movie universe is globally renowned. In those movies, each ghostly entity is lifelike, as if real, combined with nearly realistic 3D virtual glasses, making it a must-watch classic for global horror movie enthusiasts, worth savoring repeatedly, with numerous fans worldwide. In the horror movie universe produced by Jekka Group, the Ghost Bride is the most terrifying, unsolvable, and bloodthirsty presence in all the movies. To date, 5 dedicated Ghost Bride movies have been filmed, and she has appeared in cameos in other horror movies, causing waves of fear and adrenaline spikes among all viewers. Moreover, the Ghost Bride is also the only unsolvable level ghost house in Nightmare Park, the most well-known ghostly IP on Blue Star. Seeing the real Ghost Bride now, Han Ruyan's shock is imaginable. Husband, who is she? After the shock, Han Ruyan, out of a woman's instinct, immediately sensed something fishy between Su Jie and Han Ruyan. Just from their terms of address, one calls the other wife and the other husband. It seemed odd no matter how she thought about it. For a moment, grievances welled up in Lu Yingying's heart. Su Jie's face stiffened as he replied, "My wife. Then what am I? My wife." Su Jie gave his answer, which also represented his attitude. "You're lying to me. She's not even human, is she?" Lu Yingying felt full of grievances. She had just realized that there was more than one person in Su Jie's heart. No, it was even questionable whether the other party was a person at all. On Han Ruyan, she gave Lu Yingying a feeling that was too strange, not at all belonging to the realm of the living. A love that defies life and death. You! Lu Yingying was speechless, not knowing what to say about Su Jie having such peculiar tastes, daring to be with a female ghost, though the ghost was indeed stunningly beautiful and perfectly figured. But in the end, she was a ghost. Woman, you are merely an accessory. I am the wife my husband officially married. Different species are not our barrier. Han Ruyan looked coldly at Lu Yingying. This woman merely knew her husband a little earlier than herself. Originally just a mortal, what right did she have to compete with her? The moment she made her contract, she and Su Jie were destined not to be separated, sharing life and death. Humph, you're the accessory. When I met my husband, who knows where you were? Lu Yingying was furious. No matter how high her status, as long as she is a woman, she will feel jealous, especially towards a bad woman trying to snatch her husband. How could she find her pleasing? Su Jie sighed, what's meant to come will inevitably come. There would be such a day sooner or later. Both the palm and the back of the hand are flesh. To me, you are both indispensable treasures of inestimable value. Su Jie coughed twice, at this time, knowing that all he could do was to be fair, not favoring either side. With these words, Su Jie simultaneously gained the attention of both Lu Yingying and Han Ruyan. Just a mortal woman. Han Ruyan was very dissatisfied with Su Jie's answer, staring coldly and lifelessly at Lu Yingying. Her eerie power erupted like a torrent, making the ground wither and decay, and the sky turned black and red, as if the heavens were weeping. Lu Yingying trembled inside, suddenly feeling a sense of impending doom, a death-like trepidation beyond her comprehension. Bizarre, ominous, and terrifying, let alone touching. Just looking at Han Ruyan's true form made her body want to twist out of shape, as if wild black hair were surging beneath her flesh, bones piercing through her skin, countless vengeful souls wailing around her ears. Han Ruyan didn't strike to kill. If she wanted someone dead, Lu Yingying would immediately hit the ground. Roar! The thousand-hand centipede climbed onto Lu Yingying's shoulder. Seeing its arch-rival intimidating Lu Yingying, it roared, shielding her. Rolling fierce and malevolent aura surged like a tide, blocking Han Ruyan's aura. Their auras clashed and confronted each other in the void, causing ripples with countless black lightning in the void. Lu Yingying's bright eyes widened, realizing for the first time how terrifying her rival was. A mere wisp of aura could doom her to death, obliterating the slight arrogance she had upon stepping onto the path of cultivation. Sizzle! The thousand-hand centipede's vertical pupils blinked, baring its teeth and brandishing its claws at Han Ruyan. This bug and ghost have always been at odds. Little bug, do you really think I don't dare to smack you? Han Ruyan clenched her palm virtually, the wedding dress billowing, blood-red light spread like an ocean. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The thousand-hand centipede's body transformed into flame, thunder, and water. Evolving towards a Taoist creature, its resistance to Han Ruyan's eerie power was higher. If they truly fought, it's still uncertain who would win. Alright, the farce ends here. It's time to get down to business. Now, follow me to the Tianyuan world. Su Jie promptly stopped the thousand-handed centipede and Han Ruyan. If they were allowed to fight here, the Yinyang Sea suppressing palace would not survive their battle. In the middle of speaking, also to shift the focus, Su Jie retrieved an ancient copper mirror from his sea of consciousness and opened a portal for dimensional travel. Without further ado, Su Jie wrapped one arm around Han Ruyan, the other around Lu Yingying, with the thousand-handed centipede perched on his shoulder, taking a great stride forward. As their vision blurred momentarily, Lu Yingying was surprised to discover that the scenery around them had changed. She found herself inside a cavern, with ancient runes faintly visible on the stone walls, stone lamps emitting a gentle light in the dimness, and a faint fragrance filling the air, refreshing and delightful. Su Jie waved his hand, opening the retreat cave and stepped out from it. Lu Yingying followed closely, only to find that they were at the mountainside of a precipitous peak, with the cave embedded within the mountain. From this vantage point, the mountains were majestic and beautiful, with countless ancient trees filling the view. Among those mountain ranges, serene and secluded mansions nestled amidst evergreen pines and cypresses, guarded by millennia-old trees, vines entwining them, as if forming a natural painting. The mountain breeze came, the sound of pine waves echoed. Lu Yingying took a deep breath, and spiritual power surged through her body. Such abundant spiritual power! Lu Yingying was astounded. She felt a spiritual power environment she had never encountered on Blue Star. On Blue Star, she relied on spirit stones for cultivation, but here she could directly absorb spiritual energy from the air. Although it couldn't compare to spirit stones, the significance was entirely different. So this is the Tianyuan world, the holy land for cultivators. Lu Yingying was awestruck and, for a moment, didn't care to compete with Han Ruyan. Welcome to the Tianyuan world. Su Jie slightly lifted the corners of his mouth, releasing his aura without restraint, his essence imprint shaking the heavens. Boom! The next second, Ghost Ridge Palace trembled. Elders of the secret realm rose to the sky, gazing at the mountain with divine eyes. This aura, there's no mistake, it's the Holy Sun. The Holy Sun. The Holy Sun has emerged from seclusion. The 3-year agreement has arrived, and the Holy Sun is to inherit the sect master's position, offering hope for the revival of Ghost Ridge Palace. These secret realm elders all recognized Su Jie's aura, especially with a thunderous roar. A giant centipede that stretched hundreds of meters, resembling a winding great wall, with countless pale corpse hands, soared into the sky, removing any doubt they had. Throughout the Tianyuan world, no demon cultivator had cultivated a thousand-handed centipede into a top-grade 8 refinement goo worm. This was Su Jie's unique trademark and the pride of Ghost Ridge Palace. As the thousand-handed centipede arrived at the mountain gate of Ghost Ridge Palace, its enormous insect body touched down, and tens of thousands of cultivators, led by the elders, bowed in unison to Su Jie. Greetings to the arrival of the Holy Sun. May the Holy Sun's fortune be boundless. May his reign extend across Dali. May his immortal blessings last forever, and his mana be limitless. The uniformity of the voices evident of thorough rehearsal. A vast expanse of figures bowed respectfully. There was no reluctance among them, whether from the Hidden Realm elders or the Yunling Realm disciples. At this moment, their sincerity was unquestionable. No one understood the weight of the name Su Jie better than the disciples and elders of Ghost Ridge Palace. Cutting down immortal seeds, annihilating immortal sects, slaying multiple righteous sect powerhouses with his sword, he had defeated more Taoist platform realm experts than could be counted on one hand. By himself, he transformed Ghost Ridge Palace, once oppressed everywhere in Qingzhou, into a name resounding throughout Qingzhou. Even the Deli dynasty had heard of Su Jie's glorious achievements in slaughtering sects and ransacking temples. Nearby major regions like Jingzhou, Chongzhou, and Qing province, the righteous sect forces, upon hearing Su Jie's name, turned pale. Leaders of righteous sect sects like Guanchao Pavilion and Fire Cloud Palace regarded Su Jie as a great demon, eager to eliminate him. Accompanying Su Jie, standing atop the thousand-handed centipede, Lu Yingying witnessed the scene, goosebumps raised all over her body, because, with her third level of Yunling realm cultivation, she could clearly perceive that below, tens of thousands were true cultivators like herself. Among the young disciples, many had spiritual power flowing like the Yangtze River, some commanding goo insects, others bearing insect limbs, with cultivation realms far surpassing hers. Those who appeared to be leading figures, middle-aged and elder cultivators, exuded overwhelming demonic aura, their formidable presence unknown to her, like facing an endless ocean, likely the legendary Secret Storage Realm. Yet these cultivators, whether Yunling Realm or Secret Storage Realm, all submitted before Su Jie. At this moment, Lu Yingying was profoundly shocked, gaining a clear understanding of Su Jie's influence in the Tianyuan world, likely not much different from his power on Blue Star. These cultivators would be akin to Supermen on Blue Star, surpassing genetic warriors, those Secret Storage Realm powerhouses comparable to nuclear weapons, yet they too needed to heed Su Jie's command. "This is my man." Unconsciously, Lu Yingying gazed at Su Jie with infatuation, feeling proud and happy for him. However, soon Lu Yingying felt a cold gaze on her, and turning her head, she saw Han Rian looking at her. Their gazes crossed, full of tension. Su Jie seemed oblivious to this scene, standing atop the thousand-handed centipede, his voice resonating throughout the place. "Rise. This time I have emerged from seclusion to officially take on the sect master's position." Upon Su Jie's words, everyone below was overjoyed. Su Jie, as the Holy Sun, was truly the hope of all. Everyone firmly believed that under Su Jie's leadership, Ghost Ridge Palace would reach unprecedented heights. "Haha! I've been waiting for this day for a long time. It's truly the fortune of our Ghost Ridge Palace to gain such a devilish immortal seed as you." A few shadows stepped forward through the air along with a burst of loud laughter. The leader was a middle-aged man in a black robe, with long hair and a simple crown, a gloomy face, yet his mouth emitted a hearty laugh. This was the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, Zhang Junwei. His strength had improved again in the past 3 years, and now he had reached the 4th level of the Dao platform realm. However, this cultivation was still far from Su Jie's current level. Following Zhang Junwei were Elder Tang Peiqing of Ghost Ridge Palace and Su Jie's master, Taoist Qiu. Without the cultivation of the sect, there would be no me, Su Jie, today. I dare not claim credit with arrogance. Su Jie jumped down from the thousand-hand centipede and came before Zhang Junwei. "Elder Tang, your strength has improved again. It seems you have gained a lot in these 3 years. Master, your strength. Have you advanced to the Dao platform realm?" Su Jie then greeted Tang Peiqing and Taoist Qiu with sharp eyes that could see through. Tang Peiqing's strength was at the 2nd level of the Dao platform realm, while Taoist Qiu had taken the most crucial step from the 5th layer of the Secret Storage Realm to advance to the Dao platform realm. Now counting Su Jie, there were 4 Dao platform realm powerhouses in Ghost Ridge Palace, which made it a significant sect in the Deli dynasty. If not for your dragon vein crystal fruit transforming the sect's spirit vein, we wouldn't have progressed so much. Tang Peiqing stroked his beard that hung down to his chest, with a gratified smile on his face. Su Jie, whom he had watched grow up step by step, was naturally a source of happiness for him as the great elder of the sect. More delighted than Tang Peiqing was naturally Su Jie's master, Taoist Chiu. Well done. Our lineage having produced such an outstanding talent as you, we have indeed honored our ancestors. Taoist Chiu could not suppress his smile. He felt that the greatest fortune of his life was taking Su Jie as a disciple, which brought him great pride. Though we offended the Deli dynasty, everything was worth it for the dragon vein crystal fruit. Su Jie responded with a smile. 3 years ago, Su Jie snatched part of a fragment of the dragon vein crystal fruit from the 6th prince of the Deli dynasty. This mystical object could transform spirit veins into dragon veins, greatly enhancing the sect's foundation and increasing cultivation and comprehension speed. As Su Jie looked around, besides the high-level promotions, those generally in the secret storage realm also had considerable gains, and the number of inner disciples among the sect's disciples greatly increased, all due to the dragon vein crystal fruit. For Su Jie, who was about to take over as the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, these would be his forces in the future, so naturally the stronger the better. Compared to us, Su Jie, your changes are the greatest. I am completely assured of handing over the position of sect master to you. Zhang Junwei looked at Su Jie with admiration and little resentment about losing the sect master position. In the demon path, competition was brutal, like the relations of a lion pride, where the old and frail Lion King would be challenged by the young and robust lions. A harmonious transition of sect master like this was instead a blessing for Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie's strength had already far surpassed Zhang Junwei's 3 years ago, let alone after 3 years of seclusion. At this moment, Zhang Junwei looked at Su Jie and couldn't discern Su Jie's depth, only feeling a profoundly majestic and unfathomable presence. I will definitely live up to the trust of all the elders and the sect master and carry forward Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie firmly clasped his fists, speaking resolutely. With 7th stage cultivation in the Taoist platform realm, condensed Yangshin Dharma image, possessing top grade 8 refinement Gu Worm and 8th grade Evil Spirit, Su Jie was confident to fulfill his promise. Ghost Ridge Palace changes masters. Devilish Immortal Seed ascends, assumes the role of new generation sect master. With Su Jie emerging from seclusion, a storm-like news suddenly spread from Qingzhou, causing nearby Qing province, Jingzhou, and Chongzhou to be shaken, and eventually drawing attention from all 16 states of the Deli dynasty. Particularly the southern 4 states of the Deli dynasty. Qingzhou, Qing province, Jingzhou, and Chongzhou paid keen attention to it. In recent years, if anyone in the southern 4 states of the Deli dynasty had the most illustrious name, it was Su Jie, the devilish immortal seed from Ghost Ridge Palace. Destroying Purple Mist sect, auctioning the Holy Son and Divine Daughter of Righteous Sects, plundering the 6th Prince of Deli dynasty and so forth, these major events were all Su Jie's notable deeds. Since Su Jie's rise, countless blood of high-level righteous cultivators had stained his hands, and more than a handful of Dao platform realm powerhouses had been slain by him. For example, Qingzhou's righteous leader Guanchao Pavilion and Qing Province's righteous leader Fire Cloud Palace suffered heavy losses with nearly 10 Dao platform realm cultivators fallen, all directly or indirectly dying after encountering Su Jie. Qingzhou's second sect, 10,000 Sword Alliance, was completely obliterated indirectly because of Su Jie, leaving only sect leader Li Yuze as a lone sapling missing. Currently, Su Jie, this great demon, boldly announced his succession as sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, inevitably causing speculation in the outside world. Countless righteous sects in the southern 4 states turned their heads, while demon sects had already begun to arrange personnel and prepare gifts to visit. Generally, due to oppression of the demon path, demon sect master successions rarely were so publicly grand, let alone making it known worldwide. Clearly, Su Jie, the newly appointed sect leader of Ghost Ridge Palace, was declaring his dominance through this act. Amidst such discussions, the sect master succession ceremony of Ghost Ridge Palace drew near. Ghost Ridge Palace became busy and lively, arranging the sect master succession ceremony with large amounts of expensive and exquisite materials being used. Tens of thousands of disciples were bustling, all serving this purpose. A large number of demon sects from various states of the Deli dynasty came uninvited to attend the celebration of Su Jie, the great figure of Qingzhou's demon path. After half a month, the ceremonial handover of the sect master at Ghost Ridge Palace officially began. At the mountain gate of Ghost Ridge Palace, one after another, representatives of demon forces arrived, presented gifts, and entered the ceremony site. Ji Minxian from Golden Brilliance sect gifts one tail of Yellow River Longquan gold and a divine sword made from star iron, hoping for both sects to cooperate more and create a glorious era of demon path together. Su Wunan from Sky Wolf Village gifts a mid-grade snow demon wolf cub, wishing Su sect master an early ascension to the Purple Mansion great power and achievement in the Yang God Dao. Fu Renmu from Illusion Tower gifts one Baihua divine tree and a pair of heavenly thunder, wishing Su sect master an eternal life and longevity equal to the heavens. Yen Yuru from Desire sect gifts a bottle of silver vine soul-gathering liquid and 2 dragon saliva jade flowers. Su sect master spreads the renown of our demon path. These little gifts are a token of our respect. Shi Zhixing from Blood Demon Cave specially comes to apologize in person, offering this Lianhua Luli Pearl magical treasure for Su sect master to accept, hoping past misunderstandings will be excused. The booming voices of those announcing the gifts rose one after another. Su Jie's power extended beyond Ghost Ridge Palace. Demon forces from various corners of the Deli dynasty came to form alliances, and even noble families were willing to associate with him. Some who had past grievances with Su Jie, like Blood Demon Cave, proactively lowered their stance to apologize. Meanwhile, inside the sect's main hall of Ghost Ridge Palace, one divine fire palace lamp after another illuminated the spacious hall, with wisps of incense smoke rising and intertwining with the mellow sound of silk and bamboo. In the main hall, dancers dressed in splendid attire, with flowing veils, danced gracefully, accompanied by Qingzhou's most famous band playing harmonious music, resonating perfectly with the dancers' light singing and dancing. As a bell rang, everyone assumed a solemn expression, and the dancers and musicians bowed and withdrew, leaving only the representatives from various sects and high-ranking elders like those in the secret storage realm from Ghost Ridge Palace. Ordinary inner disciples were not qualified to enter. They could only stand outside the main hall, forming a massive formation, waiting for the final ceremony to end. Now, as the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, I formally announce the decision for Saint Heir Su Jie to take over my position as sect master. Let all factions bear witness. Let the ancestors approve. Let Almighty Heaven observe. Zhang Junwei wasted no time, stepping forward to Su Jie, holding the token representing the sect master's position in one hand and a delicate jade box in the other. Su Jie stood up, extended his hand to receive them, and loudly declared, I, Su Jie, pledge to dedicate myself to protecting the peace and order of Ghost Ridge Palace, living and breathing with the sect. After taking the token representing the sect master and hanging it at his waist, Su Jie opened the delicate jade box made of star dust mysterious jade. Inside lay, sleeping on ice silkworm silk, a poisonous insect the size of a baby's fist, pure white like the purest amber. This was Ghost Ridge Palace's ancestor, the renowned 9-grade goo worm, the annual ringworm. The annual ringworm awakened from its sleep, first glancing with its sesame-sized eyes at Zhang Junwei behind it, then turning to look at Su Jie, seeming to realize something. Please, ancestor, form a contract. Zhang Junwei bit his fingertip, squeezing out a droplet of blood that evaporated, thus dissolving the contract with the annual ringworm. The annual ringworm was the treasure of Ghost Ridge Palace. Every successive sect master would contract it. So far, it has seen off countless sect masters, making it the true ancestor of Ghost Ridge Palace. Yah! The annual ringworm expertly flipped over, stood upright, and hopped into Su Jie's palm, biting his fingertip lightly. It was so adept at this process that it practically developed immunity. Forming a contract was no constraint to the annual ringworm. The reason the worm liked to do this was simply its fondness for Ghost Ridge Palace, a place where it could enjoy endless supplies of food, drink, attendance, and continuous offerings of spirit stones, treasure medicines, and spiritual materials. For a worm that loved to sleep and enjoy life, there was no better nest than Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie felt a twitch at the corner of his mouth, wanting to tease the worm for its deft actions. Buzz! The thousand-hand centipede emerged from Su Jie's sleeve and greeted the annual ringworm. Ya! Ya! Buzz! 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 Ya! Buzz! Buzz! The two insects chatted in their language, seemingly oblivious to their surroundings. A few exchanges later, the thousand-hand centipede suddenly waved its antennae at Su Jie. What, it said I should feed it more spirit stones? Su Jie felt another twitch at the corner of his eye. He had just assumed the position of sect master, and the annual ringworm was already eager for food. This really is an ancestor. Su Jie was already feeling the pinch on his wallet. Although he could use the sect's treasury for personal purposes, it was essentially his own now, since Ghost Ridge Palace belonged to him. Given the annual ringworm's appetite, feeding this 9-grade goo worm wasn't going to be an easy task. However, with Su Jie's establishment of a contract with the annual ringworm, he officially became the new sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, the leading demon sect in Qingzhou. Elsewhere, Lu Yingying watched Su Jie with excitement. During her time at Ghost Ridge Palace, she realized what kind of place it was and understood the high status and power held by the position Su Jie had just taken over. Greetings, sect master. Zhang Junwei smiled and greeted Su Jie. Greetings, sect master. The elders of the secret storage realm, led by Tang Peiqing and Taoist Qiu, followed suit, bowing respectfully to Su Jie. Greetings, sect master. Outside the main hall, tens of thousands of Ghost Ridge Palace disciples shouted in unison, their voices thundering like a storm, shaking the mountains and valleys. The representatives from various sects witnessing the ceremony were filled with emotion, thinking about how formidable Su Jie, as the devilish immortal seed leading Ghost Ridge Palace, might become. Even Guanchao Pavilion would need to keep a respectful distance. While these thoughts were swirling in people's minds, a cold voice suddenly resounded from the sky. Humph! Su Jie of Ghost Ridge Palace, come out and meet your end. This voice carried undisguised wild arrogance and contempt, leaving everyone present utterly shocked. Who would dare cause trouble at Ghost Ridge Palace at such a time, openly challenging Su Jie? Could it be that Guanchao Pavilion couldn't hold back? Someone murmured quietly. Su Jie's grand gesture in assuming the sect master role was undoubtedly provocative towards Guanchao Pavilion, the head of Qingzhou's righteous sects. They seemed the most likely to take action. Guanchao Pavilion now has limited power. They probably wouldn't dare to come. Someone promptly rebutted. In the past, a demon sect like Ghost Ridge Palace being so ostentatious would surely incur Guanchao Pavilion's wrath, potentially ruining the celebrations. But the current Guanchao Pavilion, reportedly ravaged by Su Jie, now only had 3 Taoist platform realm experts and announced a retreat 3 years ago. Facing Ghost Ridge Palace's boldness, they're likely to avoid stirring up trouble. Let's go see together. More individuals opted to expand their divine senses, searching for the speaker to identify their background. Reckless fool. Su Jie's smile gradually faded, his eyes flashing coldly, his good mood disrupted. Bang! A tremendous boom echoed as Ghost Ridge Palace's mountain protection array came under attack, lighting up with layers of colorful lights, shaking violently. The outsider was not only provoking verbally but also launching an attack, disregarding Ghost Ridge Palace, disregarding Su Jie. In the heights above the mountain protection array, a defiant-looking man stood in the void. He stood 7 feet tall, dressed in a blue feather robe, with faint red dragon scale patterns on both sides of his neck, exuding a supreme arrogance. The crowd walked out from the main hall of Ghost Ridge Palace and immediately saw the defiant man hovering above the mountain protection array. Who is this person? The crowd was bewildered, having initially thought he was a powerhouse from Guanchao Pavilion. However, this person didn't match anyone from Guanchao Pavilion and also wasn't a notable master from the nearby states. Otherwise, with so many people present, someone should have recognized him. Who dares to cause trouble at my Ghost Ridge Palace? Su Jie snorted coldly, his eyes indifferent. The fact that the man chose this time to arrive was a clear sign of intentional provocation, showing no respect for Ghost Ridge Palace. I am Meng Hui, the commander of the White Tiger Hall of the Heavenly Patrol Department of the Deli Dynasty. Who is Su Jie? The man stated his identity arrogantly. What? He's from the Heavenly Patrol Department? I've heard news that a new commander of the Heavenly Patrol Department was assigned to Qingzhou this month. So he's the one. Why has he come here? Probably related to the Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit. Within Ghost Ridge Palace, representatives from various factions revealed shocked expressions upon hearing this. The Heavenly Patrol Department is a special institution officially established by the Dali Dynasty, dedicated to patrolling and eliminating demons and evils, cleansing those disruptive entities, ghosts, demons, and even righteous sects. It can be said that this institution was specifically set up by the Deli Dynasty to deal with cultivators. Most who enter the Heavenly Patrol Department have excellent talent for cultivation, nurtured by the Deli Dynasty from a young age. Others are renowned masters who willingly offer their service to the department in exchange for resources and cultivation techniques. Though the Deli Dynasty is declining, it has the appearance of a dynasty at its end, but its structure remains. As long as it doesn't collapse, it remains the legitimate ruler of the world. Regarding resources, it surpasses most sects, although it is unable to maintain such a large territory. For instance, the South is a place where the foundation of the Heavenly Patrol Department's power is relatively weak. The Deli Dynasty's center is in the north, and the true strength of the Heavenly Patrol Department is also in the north. Hence, the southern four states rarely see the presence of the department. But this doesn't mean the Heavenly Patrol Department is weak. The director of the department is a great power of the Purple Mansion realm recognized officially by the Deli Dynasty. Underneath are the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu halls, each with numerous masters. The hall masters of each hall are top-tier experts at the Taoist platform realm. This Meng Hui, who claims to be the commander of White Tiger Hall, clearly has the cultivation of the Taoist platform realm. Commanders usually manage affairs of a single state, and Meng Hui is the highest official of the Heavenly Patrol Department in Qingzhou. You are Su Jie? Meng Hui crossed his arms, having evidently seen Su Jie's portrait, recognized him as the person he sought. Upon confirming Su Jie's identity, Meng Hui's expression turned solemn as he shouted, Su Jie, you dare to seize the Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit of the Daily Royal Family. Unless you hand it over promptly, Ghost Ridge Palace awaits the sanctions of our Heavenly Patrol Department. Indeed, it's about the Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit. Many present reacted differently. Back then, Su Jie seized a portion of the Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit from the sixth prince of the Deli Dynasty, while the other portion was taken by Dong Yu, the great elder of Guanchao Pavilion, and Li Yuza, the sect master of 10,000 Sword Alliance. The Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit carries significant value for the royal family of the Dali Dynasty. The royal family practices the dragon-suppressing Heavenly Net Divine Scripture, which inherently relies on the cultivation with the Dragon Vein and the Imperial Dynasty fortune. This cultivation technique is exceptionally dominant, unparalleled. If one possesses the Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit, they can practice the scripture with doubled efficacy, advancing rapidly. Thus, Meng Hui came with this excuse, a move not surprising to many present. Facing Meng Hui's accusation, Su Jie remained calm, slowly responding, Who sent you here? Dong Yu from Guanchao Pavilion? Or Chu Yengang from Fire Cloud Palace? What benefits did they provide to make you work so hard? Upon hearing this, Meng Hui's expression drastically changed, erupting angrily. Nonsense, you devil! How dare you spew falsehoods? Seeing Meng Hui's agitation, Su Jie said, Nonsense? I've held the Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit for over 3 years. It's already integrated into Ghost Ridge Palace's spirit vein. I doubt your Heavenly Patrol Department is unaware of this. Your department didn't come sooner nor later, but chooses to come at this time to demand it. If you didn't receive someone's benefits, do you think I'd believe this? Although the Dragon Vein Crystal Fruit is important, the Deli Dynasty made no move to reclaim it 3 years ago, clearly intending to accept the loss. After all, the dynasty's power indeed waned significantly, and venturing into the already weak foundation of the south to clash with a great demon wouldn't be a wise choice. Since the Dili dynasty didn't act 3 years ago, stirring the issue again 3 years later seems unreasonable. This is why Su Jie asked, because the Heavenly Patrol Department is the department, and individuals are individuals. Stop this unnecessary talk. Will you hand over the dragon vein crystal fruit or not? Meng Hui appeared as if his hidden secret was exposed, enraged, loudly berating Su Jie, relying on his status and background with the Heavenly Patrol Department, knowing even those on the demon path would have to show him some courtesy. After all, he represented the Heavenly Patrol Department, representing the Dili royal family. Su Jie snickered disdainfully. Do you think you're worthy of making me hand over anything? Once something enters my pocket, it won't come back out. Not even if your director were here. Fine, fine. Such an arrogant devil. This is my first time encountering one. You're courting death. Wait for our Heavenly Patrol Department's response. Meng Hui, seeing that Su Jie wouldn't give in to either hard or soft tactics, without a trace of courtesy, left harsh words and was ready to turn and leave. He indeed never entertained the notion that he could breach the Ghost Ridge Palace alone. If it were that easy, Guanchao Pavilion wouldn't have been at a loss back then. He's here merely to warn Su Jie and show him some force. He had just assumed office in Qingzhou for less than 10 days, and the biggest scourge in Qingzhou was the Ghost Ridge Palace. Taking advantage of the time when the sect master position was changing, he intended to give them a good shake, making it easier to proceed with his work later. Yet Meng Hui, freshly appointed, had an overly simplistic understanding of Ghost Ridge Palace and Su Jie. Had he understood Su Jie's temperament more clearly, he would have never rushed eagerly to confront him. Just like now, Meng Hui wanted to leave, but someone disagreed. You want to leave after causing a ruckus in my presence? What do you take Ghost Ridge Palace for? Su Jie gazed at Meng Hui, and from within his robe sleeves, the thousand-hand centipede emerged, its size swiftly expanding from the length of a chopstick to a colossal beast of several hundred meters, ready to devour Meng Hui with its bloodthirsty jaws. Audacious! How dare you attack me? Flustered and furious, Meng Hui never expected Su Jie to resort to lethal force, especially since he was part of the Heavenly Patrol Department. However, the thousand-hand centipede paid no heed to what warnings Meng Hui was issuing. Accompanied by a foul wind, its numerous teeth glistened ominously, poised to swallow Meng Hui whole. The immense sense of danger caused Meng Hui's hair to stand on end. He hurriedly retreated, and in his hand appeared a top-grade magical treasure, the Dragon Bone Flame Spear, which transformed into a large lava jiaolong, attempting to entangle the thousand-hand centipede's body. Yet, the thousand-hand centipede's strength was beyond imagination. Merely a top-grade magical treasure could hardly withstand its chaos-daunting body. With one swing of its over 500-meter-long form, it ripped the lava jiaolong apart, charging at Meng Hui. Heavenly might! Meng Hui's expression drastically changed as he invoked the Heavenly Constitution, commanding the Heavenly Might. Boom! In the sky, a golden sea of flames roiled over, transforming into a towering flame giant, who roared to the heavens, its arms like heavenly pillars, firmly grasping the thousand-hand centipede. Sizzle! The thousand-hand centipede coiled its body, with countless pale corpse hands instead clutching the flame giant, wrapping it into a corpse sphere, annihilated by even hotter flames with bursts of purple light ray, vanishing into the earth. The next second, the thousand-hand centipede flapped its 6 pairs of devil wings like sails, rapidly catching up to the fleeing Meng Hui. How can this devil be so strong? Meng Hui, with disbelief written all over his face, found his Dao platform realm 4th level cultivation utterly powerless before the thousand-hand centipede. This was merely a poisonous insect of Su Jie, who hadn't even started his attack. Though the thousand-hand centipede was enormous, its agility and speed were not sluggish. Even in terms of speed, Meng Hui could not outpace the thousand-hand centipede. Over a kilometer apart, the thousand-hand centipede suddenly opened its mouth, spewing outward. A mass of black mist erupted, instantly covering a vast region ahead. This fog carried a curse effect. Anything it touched aged, decayed, and dissipated faster. Below, the earth and forest merely exposed to a sliver of it saw trees corrode and break quickly. Rocks turned to gravel, blown as dust by the wind as if weathered for thousands of years. Animals living there found their flesh and blood withering like melting snow in spring, ultimately disappearing with the wind. Looking from afar, the land turned gray and white, like an area devoid of life, without a trace of vitality. This was a power the thousand-hand centipede mastered during its fifth spirit refining, the Death Decline Curse Cloud. As it ascended to top-grade 8 refinement goo worm, this curse ability became ever stronger. Meng Hui, hit by the black mist of the Death Decline Curse Cloud, found the curse spreading throughout his body, his skin and flesh turning slack, his spiritual power within rapidly decaying and receiving irreparable damage, his speed visibly slowing. Then, while Meng Hui desperately resisted the curse, the thousand-hand centipede quietly arrived, its sinister mouthparts opening, ready to swallow Meng Hui alive. Gazing at the gaping dark maw of the thousand-hand centipede, Meng Hui felt his limbs freeze, fear of death causing him to shout, "Master Lai, save me!" Whoosh! Across the void, a sword mark sliced through, cleaving the earth as if the sky itself was cleaved in two, with a kilometer-long gorge and deep ravine appearing below in the forest and river. The huge head of the thousand-hand centipede was struck askew by the sword mark, leaving a slightly concave sword wound on the otherwise indestructible insect armor, a practically negligible injury to the thousand-hand centipede. And before Meng Hui, a figure donned in white stood firm, wielding a low-grade spirit treasure sky eagle sword, with sword chi swirling like a dragon, unfurling unpredictably. What? It's actually him. Upon seeing Meng Hui's rescuer, many immediately recognized the person's prior identity. It turned out to be the sect master Li Yuza of the 10,000 Sword Alliance, with his Taoist platform realm 7th stage cultivation. Yet, today the 10,000 Sword Alliance had long been exterminated by the Fire Cloud Palace, leaving Li Yuza alone for a long time. Su Jie stared at Li Yuza, the sect master of the once second-largest sect in Qing province, not unfamiliar with him since Su Jie played a role in the 10,000 Sword Alliance's downfall. "So it's you, Master Li. It seems you've joined the Delhi Dynasty Heavenly Patrol Department, and I guess I know who's pulling the strings behind the scenes." With a smile on his face, Su Jie gazed from afar at Li Yuza at the edge of the sky. "Sect Master Su, putting aside our past grievances, be benevolent when possible. Do you wish to make a mortal enemy of the Heavenly Patrol Department?" Li Yuza kept a stern face. His sect was decimated due to Su Jie's alliance with Fire Cloud Palace, leading him to join Delhi Dynasty's Heavenly Patrol Department with no hope of rebuilding his sect. His hatred for Su Jie wouldn't lightly fade, yet knowing the trouble Su Jie could bring, he felt little assurance in victory. 3 years ago, Su Jie alone, with a single poisonous insect and ghost, brought forth rivers of blood. He wasn't like Meng Hui, newly appointed, half-heartedly aware of the terror Su Jie could invoke. 3 years later, no one knew what level of strength Su Jie possessed. Normally, for others, strength might barely improve in 3 years. But Su Jie's rise spanned only about a decade, turning from a mere Yunling realm disciple to a Qingzhou-dominating demon path juggernaut. 3 years might have sufficed for Su Jie's strength to double. Therefore, now Li Yuza intended only to secure Meng Hui. Dealing with Su Jie was beyond his scope. What about the Heavenly Patrol Department? A barely surviving entity cloaked in tiger skin wishing to cower behind its might. "I've even fought against the Delhi Dynasty Prince. Would I fear killing off you royal lapdogs?" With a firm step, Su Jie appeared before Li Yuza and Meng Hui. This speed surpassed anything Li Yuza anticipated. Then Su Jie raised a hand, swinging a palm. Though seemingly gentle and light, the strike stirred heaven and earth, as immense spiritual power surged like a vast ocean, akin to the heavenly river reversing. Li Yuza, holding the low-grade spirit treasure sky eagle sword, slashed a glorious sword chi, seemingly set on cleaving the sky dome. Yet, upon clashing with Su Jie's palm force, the sound of metal clashing arose. The sword chi shattered, as Su Jie's spiritual power-driven palm decisively smashed the sword chi. What? Li Yuze found it hard to believe, feeling utterly shocked by the unfathomable depth of Su Jie's spiritual power. 3 years ago, when he last met Su Jie, the latter was at Taoist Platform Realm 2nd level. Su Jie was daunting then, yet he didn't possess this tyrannical might, often depending on the undying characteristic of the Blood Sea devouring sky demon skill to prove troublesome. But now, Su Jie's spiritual power, though Li Yuze couldn't perceive its entirety, revealed a vast superiority in both quantity and quality compared to his own. He stood as a great expert at the peak of Taoist Platform Realm 7th stage. This meant Su Jie possessed strength in the Taoist Platform 7th stage. 3 years from Taoist Platform Realm 2nd level to 7th stage, had he not seen it, Li Yuze would have never imagined it. Su Jie ignored whatever Li Yuze was contemplating, having shattered the sword chi with a palm. He then appeared before Meng Hui, his large hand aiming toward Meng Hui's top of the skull. No, Guanchao Pavilion sent me, don't kill. Meng Hui's pupils dilated, attempting to plead, but it was too late. Su Jie's palm descended, smashing his head like a rotten watermelon, with his primordial spirit attempting to escape only to be seized by Su Jie's palm. Until his death, Meng Hui remained unyieldingly perplexed. Su Jie, this devil, indeed dared disregard his status and kill him, a commander of the Heavenly Patrol Department. Seeing Su Jie kill Meng Hui, the commander of the Heavenly Patrol Department's White Tiger Hall, and a Taoist Platform Realm 4th level expert, the entire audience was petrified. The various demon sect members and noble families attending the event were taken aback. Though they were part of the demon sect, most wouldn't dare provoke an entity like the Heavenly Patrol Department. The Heavenly Patrol Department represents the heavenly might of the Daili dynasty's royal family. Its director is an indisputable Purple Mansion realm power, whose Yang God Dharma form can crush evil and awe the world. Who wouldn't fear it? However, the junior disciples of Ghost Ridge Palace, with their low cultivation, didn't have too many concerns. Seeing their sect master display such divine might, their faces flushed, cheering and shouting in excitement. Sect master's divine might is unstoppable. Su Jie stood tall in the void, his black gold robe creating ripples in the air, exuding the pressure of a superior. His overwhelming aura intimidated Li Yuze, making his scalp tingle. Without a word, Li Yuze knew he wasn't Su Jie's match. Facing a brute who disregarded the Heavenly Patrol Department of the Daili dynasty, he chose to turn and flee. Today, this seat ascends to the sect master position. Master Lai, why leave in haste? Are you dissatisfied with our Ghost Ridge Palace's humble abode and lacking courtesy? This is not the way we treat guests here. Su Jie's lips curled into a cold smile, his gaze deep and chilling like a dark pool. Even before he finished speaking, a blood-colored wedding dress, like a vast red haze or an inverted starry river, unfolded a red canopy, covering the sky above Ghost Ridge Palace. Looking out, the blood-colored wedding dress rustled and trembled, the blood light bleeding into the surroundings. The Yin energy surged forcefully, casting a ghastly blood-red hue over the forests and lands below. This blood-colored wedding dress carried an overwhelming eerie power, and with its appearance, the curse power quietly descended. Li Yuze's skin abruptly turned deathly pale, as if he had become a corpse. Not far behind, a coffin stood upright, made of red lacquered nanmu, its lid open to reveal countless spinning eyeballs, each reflecting Li Yuze's visage. In that fleeting moment, bubbles emerged on Li Yuze's skin like boiling water, and each bursting bubble opened into a blood-stained, living human eye. The most severely affected left arm further spawned white maggots, eating away at the flesh like silkworms devouring mulberry leaves with astonishing speed. In just a blink, Li Yuze's left arm was reduced to a skeleton, advancing towards his vital areas. In Blue Star over these 3 years, although Han Ruyan had not yet ascended to a 9th grade Fierce Ghost, she had absorbed ample fear energy via Nightmare Park and horror movies, significantly advancing her power. Li Yuze's face was grim, but being a 7th realm of the Taoist platform expert, he remained composed, immediately cutting off his left arm with sword-like fingers, severing the cursed flesh, leaving his body drenched in blood but not caring about the pain as he continued to flee. Under the canopy swept by the blood-colored wedding dress, a blood-red crescent moon rose slowly. On the blood moon sat a beautiful woman in a red wedding dress, her skin whiter than snow, exuding grace and poise. She rested her chin in one hand and pointed at the fleeing Liuza with the other. "My husband told you to stay. Didn't you understand human language?" Liuza said nothing, only continuously forming sword techniques with his hands, his face contorted with determination to carve a path to survival. The low-grade spirit treasure, Sky Eagle Sword, seemed to sense its owner's urgency, exploding with brilliant sword light to its utmost. It soared towards Han Ruyan, and the sword chi transformed into a golden-winged rock phantom, its powerful might shaking the sky dome. It said the Sky Eagle Sword was crafted from the beak of an ancient fierce beast, carrying some of its spiritual essence. Now, in full force, it swept away the clouds for miles, filling the eyes with dazzling sword light. "As if we don't have treasures. Wife, let me." Su Jie quietly landed beside Han Ruyan, a small banner appearing in his palm. Emperor's banner, unfurl. With one word, the world was astounded. The soul banner covered the sky, releasing countless souls like a tidal wave. Liuza was startled, recognizing the soul banner in Han Ruyan's hand, identifying it at a glance as never before seen. A super soul banner amassing an unknown number of souls. At the mountain gate of Ghost Ridge Palace, the many guests were awestruck by Han Ruyan's curse power, which had already exceeded expectations. Coupled with the fierce and brutal thousand-handed centipede goo worm from before, it had shocked the entire audience, even before considering Su Jie holding such a soul banner. Among them, Lu Jingshi, the sect master of the Heavenly Soul sect who came to attend the banquet, was wide-eyed, unable to believe his eyes. The Heavenly Soul sect was adept at manipulating soul banners, with each disciple equipped with one. However, these were merely called soul-summoning banners. Few could refine a 10,000 soul banner. As for the one in Su Jie's hand, it's the legendary Million Soul banner, containing at least 10 million souls. How could Lu Jingshi not be shocked? He didn't even possess a Million Soul banner, let alone such an existence. Amidst the uncertainty of the many guests in Ghost Ridge Palace's mountain gate, Su Jie fully unfolded the Million Soul banner. Netherworld Divine Evil Formation. Refine this villain. With the soul banner unfurled, countless souls roared in unison, transforming into an infinite killing formation. In the heavens descended a sword mountain, with blade edges like beheading great saber, stained with mottled blood, falling from the sky in thousands, echoing with ghostly wails. A sea of fire surged from the earth, the entire land like a scorching red iron block, with flames and lava churning continuously, the ground shaking violently as if about to flip over. The Huangquan River stretched across the land, its murky waters filled with floating bones and wailing souls, while the ferryman in a straw raincoat paddled, ferrying passengers who were all sinister and fierce ghosts laden with qi. Moreover, 18 bone mountains stood erect within the sea of fire, with 18 ancient and eerie great halls faintly visible within the mountain peaks. Legend says that in ancient times, a great power gathered millions of souls to forge the formidable 18-layer hell. During battles, each layer of hell became a devastating formation with the power to slay immortal gods. The current 10,000 soul banner already shows some signs of this trend, with the 18 layers of hell incubating within. When the Netherworld Divine Evil Formation takes shape, the underground sea of fire churns, and the torrential fire sea envelopes the Huangquan River. As the river and fire interweave, the Sky Eagle Sword, a low-grade spiritual treasure, struggles to withstand the formation's power of the 10,000 soul banner, causing cracks to appear on the sword's body. The gold-winged rock transformed by the sharp-edged Sky Eagle Sword wailed, its wings broken, and its sword body's spiritual charm and divine light tainted, rapidly declining in speed. In the sky dome, a torrential rain of thousands of blade edges transformed into a chilling sword mountain, enveloping Liuza in 1,000 cuts. When these blade edges descended upon him, They sliced through the air, as firelight intertwined with blade edges, forming layers upon layers of a peerlessly sharp sword mountain, with blade edges like stars in the night sky, occasionally merging into a colossal beast over 100 feet long, glistening all over, terrifyingly freezing, persistently breaking through Li Yu's defensive gaps. Su Jie wielded the 10,000 soul banner, and though he couldn't unleash its full power like Han Ruyan, it was enough to deal with Li Yu. The fire sea expanded. The sword mountain descended from the sky, oppressing Li Yu until he could not lift his head. This is the terror of the million-level soul banner. Su Jie had refined it step by step from the simplest soul-summoning banner that could be crafted with a few low-grade spirit stones to the current million-soul banner. At this moment, the 10,000 soul banner had become an unrivaled demon artifact, and the mere low-grade spiritual treasure, upon entering the soul banner formation, was left with only the path of self-contamination and destruction. The fire sea boiled, and the sword mountain roared. Within the formation, a solitary figure struggled to fly up and down, navigating between the fire sea and the sword mountain like a spectral ghost, casting out dazzling and fierce sword light to strive against the flames and blade edges. Yet, facing such a ghostly great formation, his physical body and swordsmanship appeared to be like a rootless source, merely struggling in vain. Su Jie, do you really intend to pursue this to the bitter end? Li Yu shouted hoarsely, his voice sorrowful. Holding the sky eagle sword, he fought desperately, but could not conceal his decline, and the sword was trembling slightly in his hand, with the sword mountain cutting deep wounds into his flesh that exposed the bones. Working for Guanchao Pavilion, you should have been prepared for this long ago. I didn't intend to trouble you, but if you had fled 1,000 miles, never appearing in front of me, it would have been fine. Yet you came to provoke me uninvited. You think your life is too long. I don't mind sending you on your way. Su Jie sneered coldly. Li Yu had come to challenge him on his own grand ceremony, giving him the perfect opportunity to announce his power with a demonstration, and the head of a Taoist platform realm powerhouse would make sure no one dared to underestimate him due to his youth. I am an imperial tributor of the Heavenly Patrol Department, worshipped by all. If you spare me, I am willing to speak well of you to the Heavenly Patrol Department. Turning hostility into friendship, wouldn't that be wonderful? Li Yu lowered his stance, begging in a soft voice, no longer the overbearing presence as before. Ha ha, the so-called Heavenly Patrol Department. If you have the guts, come to Qingzhou to eliminate the demons. Su Jie flatly refused, for if he let Li Yu go today, the world would think he feared the Heavenly Patrol Department, and his reputation would undoubtedly suffer. Face is the most important thing in the demon path. How could he lead the tens of thousands of Ghost Ridge Palace disciples in the future? Han Ruyan took a golden hairpin from her black hair coiled atop her head. In an instant, a strong aura of death enveloped Li Yu. The golden hairpin was thrown by Han Ruyan into the Netherworld Divine Evil Formation, absorbing the myriad sword mountains and transforming into a heavenly cutting divine weapon. With one airborne slash, wailing sounds of ghosts and gods echoed beneath the blade. Boundless blood colors spread from the void, as if the sky dome was slashed open with blood. You! Li Yu's pupils contracted, harboring thoughts of defense in his mind, but a bloodline appeared on his neck. A slim, solitary figure stood magnificently in the sky, yet his massive head rolled off from his neck, carrying a desperate despair of dying with eyes wide open. His primordial spirit barely left his body before being absorbed by the 10,000 soul banner, dying and dissipating on the spot. Buzz buzz. The sky eagle sword vibrated, circling Li Yu's headless corpse like a homeless puppy. So-called spiritual treasures already possessed simple artifact spirits, and it mourned for its master's passing. After circling dozens of times, the sky eagle sword suddenly changed direction, charging towards Han Ruyan. The fierce sword is truly the foremost among all magic artifacts of slaughter, with its inherent solemn killing intent. Even though its master has perished in battle, it still desires to kill Han Ruyan, this enemy. Still quite proud, aren't you? Husband, this flying sword needs proper discipline. The power of the sky eagle sword diminished without anyone to wield it. Han Ruyan merely tapped it lightly with her jade-like finger, and a stream of netherworld river water surged upwards, encasing it and drawing it into the 10,000 soul banner. Su Jie looked at the mountain gate of Ghost Ridge Palace below. The battle had not lasted long, but the shock it had caused among all members of Ghost Ridge Palace was immense. The deaths of Meng Hui of the Taoist Platform Realm 4th level and Li Yuza of the Taoist Platform Realm 7th level through an upright and outright confrontation showed the terrifying prowess of Su Jie, this giant of the demon path. The Taoist Platform Realm 7th level is a prominent figure standing at the pinnacle of a prefecture. Yet, even so, he was effortlessly killed by Su Jie, which was indeed horrifying. At this moment, many people realized that with the current strength of Qingzhou's Guanchao Pavilion, coupled with the strength of Ghost Ridge Palace, it would likely surpass that of Guanchao Pavilion. Relying on Su Jie alone, seeing him kill Li Yuza with ease, he might just dominate an entire sect like Guanchao Pavilion by himself. I am truly sorry, everyone, for disrupting your enjoyment. Please resume your music and dance. Su Jie smiled and clasped his hands in salute, and the guests below laughed awkwardly, repeatedly replying that they did not dare. However, I still have one matter to announce, and since everyone is here, it won't hurt to listen. Standing atop the head of the thousand-handed centipede, Su Jie lifted the annual ringworm with his right hand and declared in a powerful voice, "Today is the sacred ceremony for the succession of the sect master position of my Ghost Ridge Palace. Guanchao Pavilion, ignoring hierarchy, has audaciously colluded with the Heavenly Patrol Department to disrupt our sect's sacred ceremony. Moreover, Guanchao Pavilion oppresses the people and monopolizes blessed lands and spirit soil under the guise of acting for the heavens, while conducting themselves like beasts. Heaven and earth cannot tolerate, and men and gods voice their indignation. With the sun and moon above and ghosts and gods below, today I hereby plead for the ancestors to witness my heart and listen to my words. This enmity must be avenged, hence the call for mobilization. In 10 days, my Ghost Ridge Palace will send troops to Guanchao Pavilion to eradicate this demon cave for the people of Qingzhou, destroy the mountain, cut down the temple, and proclaim to the world, restoring a clear and bright Qingzhou." The annual ringworm blinked its tiny sesame-like eyes, rolling them as if human-like, thinking why drag it into this? It just wanted to sleep in late. Aside from the annual ringworm, the entire venue was in shock, leaving countless people dumbfounded. Ghost Ridge Palace disciples were all gaping. Their sect was going to deploy troops to attack Guanchao Pavilion, to attack this leader of Qingzhou's righteous sects. Many disciples who had experienced sect wars were mentally unsettled, as if the sect war spearheaded by Guanchao Pavilion against Ghost Ridge Palace was just yesterday. The high ranks of Ghost Ridge Palace were also at a loss, as Su Jie had never communicated this with them before, and this was the first time they were hearing about it. As for the guests, it goes without saying, even in Chongzhou where the demon path thrives, there has never been a case where a demon sect actively attacked the leader of a prefecture's righteous sect, let alone a sect war that involves destroying mountains and temples. This hasn't happened for countless years in the Dali dynasty. It's as if they intend to pierce the heavens. No matter the uproar below, Su Jie would not change his decision. With his significantly enhanced strength, Su Jie would naturally not allow Guanchao Pavilion, this obstruction, to remain. Since they were able to collude with the Heavenly Patrol Department's Meng Hui this time, there's no telling what disgusting methods they might employ next time. Previously, he couldn't act against Guanchao Pavilion because it was too powerful and Su Jie's strength was insufficient. Fortunes have changed, and Guanchao Pavilion has become impoverished, whereas, with Su Jie's support, Ghost Ridge Palace's strength crushes Guanchao Pavilion, and Su Jie is determined to eradicate this thorn of Guanchao Pavilion. His return to Blue Star 3 years ago was for this moment, and Su Jie vividly remembers when Guanchao Pavilion once hunted him down. Indeed, Su Jie is someone who must repay a grudge, never delaying vengeance. Only by annihilating Guanchao Pavilion can Ghost Ridge Palace truly dominate Qingzhou. Otherwise, with the eyesore of Guanchao Pavilion, nothing can be done comfortably. This throne of the leader of Qingzhou's sects that Guanchao Pavilion sits upon, can it not be held by me, Su Jie? He wants to see, in the presence of his Yangshan Dharma image, which grasshopper dares to stir, and who can block him? Su Jie suddenly decided to launch an attack on Guanchao Pavilion, causing a huge stir throughout Qingzhou, and the news inevitably spread out. The entire Ghost Ridge Palace was intensely mobilized due to Su Jie's orders. Within the sect, disciples began receiving distributed magic artifacts and talismans. Disciples above the third level of the Yunling realm were organized into formations to collaborate with inner disciples in battle. Countless elixirs, spirit stones, poisonous insects, and vestment robes were distributed to disciples and elders to maximize their combat abilities. In halls like the Puppet Hall, lights burned all night, with rapid production and maintenance of inventory in full swing. The vast Ghost Ridge Palace seemed to transform into a war machine, fully dedicated to the war effort. For Su Jie's sudden decision, naturally, the high levels of Ghost Ridge Palace had their doubts. But Su Jie, with his formidable personal strength, had already proven that he indeed had the capability to replace Guanchao Pavilion. Along with his personal prestige, the decision was smoothly passed. A week later, with all preparations complete, the mountain gate of Ghost Ridge Palace opened. Clang, clang, clang. The ancient bell tolled 9 times in succession, signaling the order of war. Before the mountain gate, tens of thousands of Ghost Ridge Palace disciples gathered here, each face brimming with excitement because they clearly understood, should this battle be successful, the future of Qingzhou would be decided by Ghost Ridge Palace. Set out, crush Guanchao Pavilion, and take everything from them. Su Jie didn't provide much additional motivation because, for demon cultivators, this sentence was already enough. Start the journey. Follow me. Guanchao Pavilion, here I come. Tens of thousands of Ghost Ridge Palace disciples, their eyes gleaming, set the enormous formation in motion. Rumble. The first to move was Puppet Hall, with Spider-Man battle mech striding gracefully, their 8 long metal legs crossing rugged mountain paths and rivers, forming a boundless steel torrent, numbering over 1,000 in total. Moreover, these Spider-Man battle mechs differ slightly from those on Blue Star, as they are powered by spirit stone arrays, and even their weapon systems have been somewhat altered and enhanced according to the combat style of Ghost Ridge Palace disciples, making them more suitable for wars in Tianyuan world. The price of such a Spider-Man battle mech is several times higher than those on Blue Star. Numerous young Ghost Ridge Palace disciples sat atop the Spider-Man battle mechs. Though they were not genetic warriors, they were even more terrifying than genetic warriors. Blue Star needed genetic warriors because the bodies of its people were too fragile, but in Tianyuan world, this was unnecessary. Cultivators were born super soldiers. Besides the Spider-Man battle mechs, there were many steel vehicles responsible for logistics, including heavy trucks, rocket artillery, and armored cars. These were directly transported by Su Jie from Jekka Group. As the conflict on Blue Star came to a halt, Jekka Group faced a situation of disarmament and demobilization, without needing to maintain such a large military, and had reduced many of the ordinary troops. Many vehicles were idly stored, and with Jekka Group's vast military production capacity, it easily met the needs on this side of Tianyuan world. Therefore, Ghost Ridge Palace became the first fully mechanized cultivator force in Tianyuan world. All cultivators no longer relied on horses or their legs for traveling. Everything was replaced with steel beasts. However, these steel vehicles were mainly ground-based, with basically no fighter jets or helicopters. Because in Tianyuan world, those who could fly were generally secret realm cultivators, and if Blue Star's fighters came here, they would merely be delivering meals to secret realm cultivators. Thus, flying above the heads of Ghost Ridge Palace disciples were Ghost Ridge Palace secret realm elders, either riding insect clouds, flying giant poisonous insects, or simply flying in midair. In the higher sky dome, a vast flying magic boat passed through the clouds and was inscribed with the words 1,000 Hands, which was Su Jie's flagship in Tianyuan world. Su Jie stood there with Lu Yingying, who, riding the flying magic boat for the first time, was full of wonder. Originally, she thought the Yuan Shou battlecruiser was already an impressive super war fortress, but upon stepping aboard the flying magic boat and seeing the ship covered in countless array patterns and flashing talisman light, she realized that the Yuan Shou battlecruiser was merely a downgraded version of the flying magic boat, relics of different eras. The army below is advancing too quickly. Lu Yingying pointed to the steel torrent below. It was visible that Ghost Ridge Palace cultivators quickly adapted to using these steel vehicles. Though most people didn't understand how these steel vehicles operated, their formidable physical capabilities allowed them to master driving much faster than average people. It's like how ordinary people, even if they don't understand how mobile phones are made, can still master their use with ease. What surprised Lu Yingying even more was that the road from Ghost Ridge Palace to Guanchao Pavilion wasn't a smooth one. Many paths included canyons, swamps, cliffs, and other impassable areas. If this were on Blue Star, the troops would have had no choice but to turn back in such situations. But for cultivators, these obstacles were no real issue. Some cultivators who mastered the 5 elements technique simply chose to cut through mountains and build bridges over rivers. If that wasn't possible, they would exchange places with secret realm elders flying in the sky, and the elders would come forward, sometimes even leveling forests and mountain peaks blocking the way, epitomizing dominance. After all, we are cultivators. We have our own ways to utilize things. Su Jie chuckled. The technology of Blue Star indeed has a lot of commendable aspects. At least it's good for taking care of those low cultivation disciples. The puppet hall really has come up with many novel gadgets. A voice came. Zhang Junwei, Tang Peiqing, and Taoist Qiu walked together. Zhang Junwei also looked at the steel tide below. Because the puppet hall is managed by Su Jie, he seldom goes there. Suddenly seeing this army of cultivators really refreshed his perspective. I must say, it's indeed much more convenient than traveling on horseback. Tang Peiqing stroked his beard on the side, surprised on his face. As the oldest elder of Ghost Ridge Palace, he has seen puppets before, but they are basically human-shaped, focused on precision, strength, and high cost, suitable for solo fighting. It's the first time he's seen the puppet hall's civilian usage, forming an army of puppets. With this, we will reach the Guanchao Pavilion's lair in less than 3 days, much faster than we expected. Taoist Qiu also nodded frequently, quite amazed by the creation made by his disciples. Su Jie turned his head. You elders' praises are too much. For now, what the puppet hall has created can only be used for small skirmishes and cannot play a role on more advanced battlefields. Lu Yingying also bowed her hand to the 3. Greetings to the 3 elders. Regarding Lu Yingying, Su Jie only mentioned she is his wife found outside, although some thought Lu Yingying's cultivation is somewhat low. But that is the sect master's private matter. No one dares to gossip recklessly. As for Su Jie's address to Zhang Junwei and the others, with Su Jie taking the position of Ghost Ridge Palace sect master, he specially created the role of supreme elder for Zhang Junwei, Tang Peiqing, and Taoist Qiu. Following the practice of Guanchao Pavilion, their authority and status are higher than regular secret storage realm elders. Sect master, what reaction from Guanchao Pavilion? Zhang Junwei spoke, directly addressing Su Jie by his position. Su Jie pinched a spell with his hand, activating a formation on the 1,000 Hands flying skyship. Instantly, a mirror-like image appeared before Su Jie, which is the real-time scene of Guanchao Pavilion. This is established by the Sky Eye satellite launched to the 5th layer heaven through rockets developed by Puppet Hall. A single Sky Eye satellite costs as much as 120,000 spirit stones, equivalent to the price of a low-grade magical treasure. Ghost Ridge Palace has 5 of these Sky Eye satellites. Through the transmission from the Sky Eye satellite, you can see Guanchao Pavilion there is also busy and nervous. Disciples are bustling everywhere. Around Guanchao Pavilion, there's an endless stream of cultivators arriving, joining Guanchao Pavilion. The news of Ghost Ridge Palace planning a war against Guanchao Pavilion has long spread across Qingzhou. Even without Su Jie's declaration of war, Ghost Ridge Palace's huge movement cannot be hidden from others. It seems Guanchao Pavilion has quite a lot of loyal friends. Su Jie raised his eyebrow. Among the cultivators rushing to Guanchao Pavilion, he spotted some familiar banners. I guess they're more afraid of Guanchao Pavilion being destroyed, and then they will be next. Taoist Qiu snorted coldly, expressing his view. If it's replaced by a righteous sect, these Qingzhou righteous sects would probably choose to watch the tigers fight. Tang Peiqing also spoke slowly. Ghost Ridge Palace as demon cultivators have more than just Guanchao Pavilion to confront. Everyone understands the lip and teeth relationship. Guanchao Pavilion is the leader of Qingzhou's righteous sect, while Ghost Ridge Palace is entirely demon cultivators. These righteous sects are worried once Guanchao Pavilion can't hold on and fall under the Ghost Ridge Palace. Next, they would have to face the Worm Swarm army of Ghost Ridge Palace. So faced with Guanchao Pavilion's urgent call for aid, they all choose to dispatch troops to support Guanchao Pavilion. It doesn't matter, in the face of absolute power, no matter how many cannon fodders there are, they are only sending themselves to death. Su Jie smiled confidently. The outcome of a sect war is often decided not by the numbers of low-level cultivators, but by the top-tier combat power. In the Tianyuan world, where individual martial strength reigns supreme, a single strong person can change the outcome of a war, unimaginable in Blue Star. Now, Su Jie has refined his Yang God Dharma image. The Taoist platform realm is far beneath him. With the cards in Su Jie's hand, he simply cannot think of a way he will lose. 3 days passed in a flash. Qingzhou, Firefly Sea. The vast lake resembles an emerald set in the land, stretching as far as the eye can see. This is where Guanchao Pavilion's mountain gate is located. Firefly Sea produces a rare spiritual material called Firefly Stone. The Firefly Stones at the bottom emit a gentle cold light. Especially at night, under the moonlight, it's like stars have fallen to the lake bed. Incredibly beautiful scenery. In the central area of Firefly Sea sits a lake island. The island is covered with ancient trees, clear springs, cranes play in water, and elegant pavilions are distributed across the island, accompanied by the beauty of the lake. At the edge of the island stands a towering stone archway, engraved with the 3 characters Guanchao Pavilion, the strokes sharp like a drawn long sword, exuding an imposing dignity. This is where Qingzhou's righteous sect leader, Guanchao Pavilion's mountain gate, is located. The entire sect using Firefly Sea for its great formation foundation, lasting over 1,000 years, has been the leader of Qingzhou's righteous sect for a millennium, yet never yet faced such severe challenges. Not even decades ago during the bloody battle with Qing Province's Fire Cloud Palace was as desolate as now. Standing quietly before the stele of past patriarchs on the lake island, a man stands silently. The man's hair is gray, marred, youthfully appearing in his 40s, but worries within his eyes are unending. This is Guanchao Pavilion's Supreme Elder, Dongyu, with a cultivation of the 7th realm of Taoist platform. He is presiding over Guanchao Pavilion's vital affairs, the current strongest combat power of Guanchao Pavilion. Master, the sect faces a great catastrophe. I earnestly implore you, Master, to descend from the mountain and save the sect from disaster. Dongyu's voice hoarse. He hasn't slept a wink in days, pondering over this matter. As he spoke, 3 incense sticks inserted into the incense burner instantly dimmed, as a delicate statue on the high platform, seeming to brew afresh, lit with 2 dim and eerie eyes. The statue isn't humanoid, its form resembling a tiger leopard, for gray-white, dragon-like head and tail, with wings on its shoulders incapable of flight, a head bearing a single claw pointing backward. The entire statue small as a palm, carved from dragon vein crystal fruit, taken in part from the Deli dynasty's 6th prince. However, Su Jie used his captured dragon vein crystal fruit to elevate Ghost Ridge Palace's spirit vein, enhancing the sect's foundation, while Dongyu carved it into a statue. No worries, these insignificant demon. I've nourished my soul sufficiently within the dragon vein crystal fruit. Should any devil dare come, I will aid in crushing them to death. The peculiar statue slowly raised its head, eyes flashing with life, with a mountain-like steadiness. Dongyu rejoiced exceedingly, fell to the ground with gratitude. With Master's promise, my worries are eased. This time those demons will have no return. Go. As long as I'm here, Guanchao Pavilion shall endure with day and river vitality. The statue's eyes gradually dimmed, reverting to its deathly silence. Dongyu, assured, swept aside former helplessness, stepped from the great hall towards the Firefly Sea. With sparkling waves, on the starlit lake surface, for flying magic boats hovered above. Over 100,000 disciples from various sects gathered here, forming a massive army array. Along the lakeshore, hang banners of various sects: Golden Sword Sect, Dragon and Tiger Sect, Miaoyin Temple, Dragon Roar Palace, Tianqing Pavilion, Cloud Sea Cave, Julia Castle. Powerhouses of more than 10 sects assembled. Dong Yu walked step by step, scanning the arena, then lifted his gaze to the horizon. There, billowing dark clouds surged. Upon closer inspection, it is not clouds, but boundless insect clouds. High above the sky, the 1,000-hands-flying sky ship descended from the clouds, casting a huge shadow. Below, a mighty steel army, having reached the Firefly Sea, saw a large number of Ghost Ridge Palace disciples leap down, surrounding the area in a besieging manner. Su Jie stood at the bow of the flying magical boat, his gaze fixed distantly on the mountain gate of Guanqiao Pavilion below. This was Su Jie's first time here. In terms of the size of the mountain gate, Guanqiao Pavilion was much larger than Ghost Ridge Palace, and instead of being located in desolate mountains and wilderness, it was situated in the blessed area of Firefly Sea. Soon, this place will be ours. Su Jie's lips curled up. He had already included Guanqiao Pavilion in the future development plan of Ghost Ridge Palace. Leaving such a treasure in the hands of Guanqiao Pavilion was truly a waste. It was better to let him manage it. Thinking so, a loud shout came from below. Su Jie of Ghost Ridge Palace? Do you know what you are doing? Then he saw a figure with black and white hair flying up, confronting Su Jie across the air. It was the great Elder Dong Yu of Guanqiao Pavilion. I suppose this is Elder Dong? Don't you Guanqiao Pavilion know what we are doing? How did Guanqiao Pavilion treat Ghost Ridge Palace back then? Ghost Ridge Palace now intends to return the favor in kind. Su Jie wore a smiling face as gentle as a spring breeze, recalling how Guanqiao Pavilion led Qingzhou's righteous sect to besiege Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie was a witness. He had even fought against Guanqiao Pavilion's immortal seed, Wei Ji, gaining fame in Qingzhou and becoming the devilish immortal seed of Ghost Ridge Palace. But that did not prevent Su Jie from having a poor opinion of Guanqiao Pavilion, because he nearly had to flee the world and become homeless, let alone master Ghost Ridge Palace, this demon sect. A mere fledgling dares to boast shamelessly. Our Guanqiao Pavilion simply does not wish to engage in wanton slaughter. Do you really believe that our Guanqiao Pavilion is afraid of your Ghost Ridge Palace? Now, the entire Qingzhou's righteous comrades are gathered here. If your Ghost Ridge Palace dares make a move, you'll face both physical and spiritual annihilation. Dong Yu snorted coldly, full of murderous intent, seemingly not placing the army of Ghost Ridge Palace in his eyes at all. That's right, Elder Dong is correct. Ghost Ridge Palace is only a minor player, hiding in desolate mountains and wilderness, yet still dares to act so arrogantly. This time, we definitely can't let them go. Su Jie, you devil, have only been the sect master for a few days, and you can't wait to start a war. Saying you're a hothead is flattery. You're simply courting death. Qingzhou is not a place for you to speak, Su Jie. If you don't withdraw your troops immediately, by this time next year, it will be your death anniversary. As Dong Yu's words fell, all the powerful figures from the Qingzhou's righteous sects who came to aid Guanqiao Pavilion spoke up, glaring angrily at Su Jie. Su Jie's smile did not diminish, his gaze scanning the audience. His ferocious and ruthless eyes made many righteous powerhouses' hairs stand on end, as if a sword's edge was pressing against their throats, making it hard to breathe. It's hard to imagine how one could have such a terrifying look while smiling. Two apparently contradictory emotions harmoniously coexisted in Su Jie. Yeah. Su Jie let out a loud laugh, his voice shaking the scene. Guanqiao Pavilion, you really have quite a few lackeys, even finding 3 Taoist platform realm experts to back you up. I must applaud you. Listening to all of you seems like you wish to tear me alive. Then I shall give you the chance. Come, let me see your skills. It's perfect to clean you all up today at this place. Su Jie's arrogant and disdainful words ignited the scene, with curses immediately echoing through the Firefly Sea. The 3 Taoist platform realm experts from Golden Sword Sect, Dragon and Tiger Sect, and Cloud Sea Cave were furious. Some were so enraged they were ready to rise and attack. Everyone, calm down. Don't be provoked by this devil. His personal power is unfathomable. He intends to lure us out of the mountain protection array to defeat us one by one. Don't fall for his trick. Dong Yu timely voiced his objection. Currently, Guanchao Pavilion had only 3 Taoist platform realm experts, including himself. Adding the 3 Qingzhou Taoist platform realm experts who came to assist, there were 6 in total. It appeared stronger than the Ghost Ridge Palace side. There, including Su Jie, they only had 4 Taoist platform realm figures. However, Su Jie's combat prowess alone was not something an ordinary Taoist platform realm can compare with. Judging from how he effortlessly killed Li Yuze, Dong Yu had little confidence in winning against Su Jie's strength. Let alone, Su Jie also brought formidable figures such as the Thousand-Handed Centipede, Ghost Bride, and Annual Ringworm, all top tier in the Taoist platform realm, making Ghost Ridge Palace's high-end force even more terrifying. And sect wars are about high-end strength. The lower-level cannon fodder doesn't determine the outcome of the war. Hee. Seems like all just talkers here. With such courage, you're better off not stepping out to help. Su Jie gave a cold snort, clapped his hands fiercely. Heavenly might. Rumble. As Su Jie's cold voice emerged, clouds stirred from all directions, and spiritual power surged within a 100-mile radius. Rolling thunderclouds enveloped the sky dome, forming a thunderous giant lion roaring to the heavens, stomping heavily on the ground. The body constructed by purple cloud heavenly thunder, this thunderous giant lion was incredibly powerful, its roar shattering the sky layer and touching the forests below, uprooting countless towering ancient trees. In the next moment, under Su Jie's command, the thunderous giant lion trod forward, crashing into the Firefly Sea. Buzz! Above Firefly Sea, a starlight shield rose, covering the entire area of Guanchao Pavilion's mountain gate. It was the mountain protection array of Guanchao Pavilion. The thunderous giant lion crashed into it, causing the Firefly Sea mountain protection array to flicker unsteadily, rippling in circles. But this seemingly fragile array withstood Su Jie's heavenly might attack. When the thunderous giant lion dissipated, the Firefly Sea mountain protection array remained unmoved. It's useless. I admit you, devil, have some strength, but our Firefly Sea mountain protection array is linked with underground spirit veins, using Firefly Stone as its foundation, with countless top-grade spirit stones as its supply. Even if all of you at Ghost Ridge Palace used every means, you wouldn't possibly break it. Seeing this, Dong Yu sighed with a slight relief. The mountain protection array is the key defense of a sect, especially for a sect like Guanchao Pavilion, the leader of Qingzhou's righteous sects. The construction of such an array naturally draws great attention, and the array built here in Firefly Sea is an insurmountable chasm for Dao platform realm cultivators. Sect Master, let's join forces. Zhang Junwei frowned. This turtle shell was sturdier than expected. Now the only way was to slowly wear down the array's power until Guanchao Pavilion's spirit stone reserves were depleted. However, this would take a very long time. Back then, Ghost Ridge Palace also relied on their mountain protection array to hold out for a long time during sect wars. We can try from other directions. For example, attacking those coming to assist. If the elite of Dragon and Tiger Sect weaken their forces, our army can reroute and attack Dragon and Tiger Sect. I doubt they won't respond. Taoist Chiu also suggested, his proposal more insidious and venomous, and with a decent chance of success. Even if Guanchao Pavilion remained huddled, it would greatly demoralize them. Su Jie shook his head and said, prolonging this battle may bring unexpected changes. After all, the Dili dynasty has a strong righteous force. If we muddle here, other righteous sects from different states, or even the Dili dynasty itself might involve themselves. As he spoke, Su Jie turned his gaze back, waving for Hall Master Zhu Zhangqi of the Puppet Hall to come over. He used to be the senior brother of the Puppet Hall. After Su Jie took over as Sect Master, the position of Hall Master was vacated, allowing Zhu Zhangqi to succeed. Sect Master, you called for me. Zhu Zhangqi flew to Su Jie. He had already guessed. Su Jie asked, how's the nuclear launch preparation? No problems, right? All these nuclear weapons are personally maintained by me and are ready to launch at any moment. Zhu Zhangqi patted his chest. His guess was right. The the sect master was going to use that super weapon. He had once been taken by the sect master to test it in a deserted desert, where the released power nearly blinded him. Go prepare the nuclear weapons, take them out, and blow that tough turtle shell for me. Su Jie commanded directly, revealing one of his trump cards for this battle. Yes. Zhu Zhangqi, full of excitement, ran back to the puppet hall's base, bringing out 10 giant log transport vehicles for adjustments. These super weapons from Blue Star were indeed some of the good things Su Jie brought from Blue Star. In the past, Su Jie dared not casually use nuclear weapons, fearing they would incite covetousness due to his own weakness. But now that Su Jie's strength had grown, nuclear weapons became a trump card he could openly use. Sect Master, can the puppet hall break this mountain protection array? Tang Peiqing, who overheard the conversation, was puzzled. Since when was the puppet hall so capable? Even their Dao platform realm strong people were helpless against this array. Just wait and see. This turtle shell is not unsolvable. Su Jie smiled confidently. The nuclear bomb was the most destructive weapon in Blue Star's history. Even in the Tianyuan world, if a Dao platform realm cultivator were hit, they would either die or be severely injured. The only downside was that it's extremely hard to hit a Dao platform realm cultivator with a nuclear weapon. More than an hour later, 18 log transport vehicles stood tall after adjustments. Each log transport vehicle had a large steel cylinder, seemingly inconspicuous compared to the grand flying magic boat. But only Su Jie and Lu Yingying understood that this unremarkable thing could destroy a city in one hit. Zhu Zhangqi ran back to Su Jie, suppressing his excitement. Sect Master, all nuclear weapons are ready, awaiting your command. Su Jie sighed inwardly, unexpected that the nuclear weapons not used by Jekka Group on Blue Star first shone brilliantly in the Tianyuan world. However, this thought was fleeting. Once Guanchao Pavilion was destroyed, nuclear weapons could be rebuilt, but once Guanchao Pavilion fell, the province of Qingzhou would fall under the control of Ghost Ridge Palace. Transmit my order. Aim all nuclear missiles at the Firefly Sea Mountain Protection Array. Fire. Su Jie slowly ordered, completing the final step before the nuclear launch. With Su Jie's command, the 18 log transport vehicles ignited simultaneously, hot flames and smoke billowed, and the large white projectiles soared into the sky, flying towards the Firefly Sea. The Ghost Ridge Palace troops had already been ordered to fall back to a safe distance. Within Guanchao Pavilion, Dong Yu was unaware of what trick Su Jie was up to, seeing no movement. He thought Su Jie was blocked by the impervious mountain protection array and chose to retreat, abandoning the attack on Guanchao Pavilion. Then, he saw 18 white cylindrical objects flying towards the Firefly Sea at supersonic speed. Boom! The next moment, heaven and earth went silent. 18 mushroom clouds rose slowly from the ground, releasing infinite light and heat. The expanding mushroom cloud fireballs rose thousands of meters into the sky. The violent shock wave and high temperature swept forth. The Firefly Sea surged with massive waves as if it would engulf everything. Within the Firefly Sea Guanchao Pavilion, the 36 white jade towers located at the core of the lake island trembled, shedding their golden paint and jade tiles. The array patterns set along the white jade towers tore under the violent shaking, splitting the earth with cracks resembling paths to hell. These 36 white jade towers were the foundation and array eye of the Firefly Sea Lake Mountain Array. The disciples and elders of Guanchao Pavilion who remained found in horror that these white jade towers shook with hideous cracks, collapsing one after another. Simultaneously, the Firefly Sea Mountain Protection Array rippled. The 7-layered gilded talismans cracked inch by inch in the void. Countless Guanchao Pavilion disciples looked up to see the sky dome split with scarlet gashes. Incandescent spheres enveloped in a destructive aura, as if 12 golden crow suns were crashing down. The Firefly Sea Mountain Protection Array crumbled. Subsequently, the power of the nuclear weapons continued to release. The glazed tiles vaporized into dust in the airwaves. 1,000-year-old Chinese tallow beams vaporized into blue smoke before they burned out. The gilded plaque inscribed with Boundless Sea melted into hot iron, leaving menacing traces along the stone steps. Many Guanchao Pavilion disciples turned into running torches, casting twisted shadows on the white jade square. Some fled to the lotus pond only to find the water already boiling, while the elder's protective spirit light clashed fiercely with the shock wave. When the shock wave swept through the sword tomb, 100,000 ancient swords resonated into molten red iron streams, which flowed like a fearsome blood river along the cracked earth. The remaining energy of the mountain protection array formed a purple dome, withstood the deforming force of nuclear fireball, and the purple dome eventually collapsed. At the same time, the largest reliance of Guanchao Pavilion, the mountain protection array, had completely collapsed. Many were left speechless at the power of this unknown magical treasure that Su Jie had used, which had effortlessly destroyed the Guanchao Pavilion's mountain protection array. Raise the barrier! The 4 flying magic boats belonging to Guanchao Pavilion lit up with countless array glows, finally withstanding the shockwave of the nuclear explosion, protecting the disciples below. But now, the biggest guardian of Guanchao Pavilion, the mountain protection array, had collapsed entirely. Now they must face the strongest devil of Qingzhou, leading his forces from the Sky Dome. Whoosh! Whoosh! The massive, grotesque body of the thousand-hand centipede burrowed into the breach of the mountain-guarding formation, its sturdy, thick insect shell shimmering with a metallic luster, resembling a steel great wall spanning the Sky Dome. Atop the thousand-hand centipede's head, Su Jie wore a bloodthirsty smile at the corner of his mouth, his gaze directed towards Guanchao Pavilion below, as if seeing a field of gold. The predatory expression made many Guanchao Pavilion disciples and elders, who raised their heads to look up, feel a chill in their hearts. Roar! The roar and shrill scream of the thousand-hand centipede made eardrums bleed, as hundreds of purple light beams unleashed and intertwined into a majestic purple lotus that fell in an instant upon the Lake Heart Island of Guanchao Pavilion below. The purple light beams, as the signature ability of the thousand-hand centipede, were well known by the righteous sects of Qingzhou, but knowing is one thing, trying to withstand it is another. The purple light beams came too swiftly and fiercely. Many Guanchao Pavilion disciples didn't even let out a hum before being dissolved by the purple light. Even the Secret Realm elders suffered tragic deaths or injuries. The Secret Realm elders couldn't withstand the power of the purple light beams either, only dodging more than the disciples, relying on early evasion to avoid disaster. The acrid smell of scorched earth mixed with the metallic scent of blood filled the nostrils, while the lands within kilometers were riddled with holes from the purple light beams. With just one strike, over 1,000 Guanchao Pavilion disciples and 7 or 8 Secret Realm elders perished. Don't underestimate the gap between the Dao Platform Realm and the Secret Realm just by one level, for the combat power is like crushing. Furthermore, with the likes of a terrifying poisonous insect, the thousand-hand centipede, attacking, it was a dimensional reduction attack. Slaughtering disciples and Secret Realm elders was like cutting grass. Everyone, the survival of the sect is at stake today. Who will join me in slaughtering these devils? Dong Yu snapped out of the shock from the breach in the mountain guarding formation. Seeing Su Jie slaughtering his disciples, he immediately understood that today wouldn't end peacefully. With an angry shout, he led his high-tier combat forces charging towards Su Jie. Evil Su, don't be rampant. This sword cultivator shall meet you. A Taoist platform realm expert from the Golden Sword sect flew in with sword control. His cultivation at the 5th layer of the Taoist platform realm made him the second strongest among the 6 righteous Taoist platform realm experts, only next to Dong Yu. Confident in the strength of the sword cultivator's attack, he decided to first test the waters with Su Jie. A dazzling golden light tore through the air, like the first ray of dawn. This sword chi was as radiant as the newborn sun. Su Jie remained expressionless, simply pressing downward with one hand. Purple cloud heavenly thunder. Thunderbolts as thick as buckets rained down, shattering the golden light. The flying sword was knocked out of hand, and the person was struck directly into the ground, sprawling in a large shape, clothes stained with blood, with an unknown number of broken bones. With just one hand, Su Jie suppressed this Golden Sword sect Taoist platform realm 5th layer expert. Fool, when it comes to swordplay, Li Yuza of the 10,000 Sword Alliance is far superior to you. What end did he meet? Yet you dare to come forth to your death. Refining the sword has dulled your brain. Su Jie's smile was filled with mockery. Below, Han Ruyan had already appeared before the mortally wounded Golden Sword sect expert, and before others could stop her. Han Ruyan produced a black flying sword, swiftly piercing through the Golden Sword sect expert's head, absorbing the primordial spirit into the myriad soul banner. That flying sword was indeed the low-grade spiritual treasure Sky Eagle sword taken from Li Yu's hand, controlled by Han Ruyan through the filth of the myriad soul banner. Having easily killed a Taoist platform realm expert, Han Ruyan glanced towards the direction of the Guanchao Pavilion army, producing a flapping black banner from her hand, which was the demonic path's supreme treasure, the myriad soul banner. Netherworld Divine Evil Formation. Activate. Han Ruyan's dead, cold eyes showed no emotion as she spoke icily. Then the soul banner unfurled like a curtain being raised. Sword mountains loomed abruptly, seas of fire surged. 18 bone mountains rose consecutively, commencing the entrapment and slaughter of all enemies. Many Guanchao Pavilion disciples and elders were caught within, sliced into pieces by the sword mountains, charred to coal by the fire seas, torn and devoured by countless Ean souls, their souls melting in the Netherworld Divine Evil Formation, further enhancing the power of the myriad soul banner. Wherever the soul banner formation passed, there were mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Cries of agony filled the air. Countless Guanchao Pavilion disciples and elders' faces changed at the news, and upon seeing, fled in terror, avoiding it in all directions. Once drawn in, even Taoist platform realm experts faced death more often than survival. This demonic banner was truly too ferocious and overbearing. Roaring, the thousand-hand centipede lunged menacingly towards the 4 Guanchao Pavilion-owned flying magic boats. These 4 flying magic boats were battlefield killing tools, and if left unchecked, they posed a monumental threat, especially to the Ghost Ridge Palace disciples and Secret Realm elders, though they were not too concerning for the strong. Likely, by the time the battle ended, there would be barely any Ghost Ridge Palace disciples left. Zhang Junwei, Taoist Chiu, and Tang Peiqing, 3 Taoist platform realm experts, also joined the battlefield, confronting the Righteous Sect's Taoist platform realm experts. Devil! Dong Yu was so enraged he felt chest pains, beyond vexed by the foolish Golden Sword sect member, who, unaware of their own strength, went to provoke Su Jie, wasting their life in vain. As he thought of this, Dong Yu wielded the Green Wave Furious Tide umbrella with his left hand, a genuine mid-grade spiritual treasure. On the righteous side, another Taoist platform realm expert from Guanchao Pavilion also took out a low-grade spiritual treasure, the sea-suppressing double dragon staff, which was the only spiritual treasure the righteous side had, showing the rarity of spiritual treasures. However, in terms of treasures, Su Jie held the low-grade spiritual treasure 7 Luminaries Star Lord ring in his left hand and the exotic treasure 9th grade Sacred Lotus in his right, considered sufficiently luxurious. Elder Dong, today your Guanchao Pavilion shall witness the might of our Demon Path's military prowess.